We put this together as Patriots for Freedom, together with Pastor Rob. Pastor Rob, where are you? He left. I'm sure we all know who Pastor Rob is, right?
Yeah, we want to thank Pastor Rob, the safety team, the staff, the parking crew, everyone. There's about 40, 50 people that help do all of this. So, Pastor Rob, you're being called.
We need you here.
We need to be up here.
The staff is busy making this place a safe environment for us to be in, and we can't thank you enough. I just want to take a moment to thank you, Pastor Rob, the security and the safety team to make this possible, a safe environment for us to be here today to welcome Steve Hilton. And he will answer all the questions that is out there. It would be great. And we will start the program now with Pastor Rob saying the prayer.
Well, good afternoon to all of you. Glad that you guys are here. Hopefully you get your answers to the questions that you might have so that you can then vote the candidate that best represents your morals and your values. And we hope is be on the stage, right, you guys? So good to have all of you guys here. God, we want to say thank you for this opportunity, being citizens of this great country, being citizens that have an opportunity to vote for the people that we feel best represent us. And so today, Lord, may you make that clear to us. We pray for each one of the candidates that are going to be speaking. God, may you give them the ability to share truth from their hearts so that we might get to know who they are. And so, Lord, may you watch over us, protect us. Thank you for this team. Thank you for the team that is inside, the one that is outside. Lord, we want to say thank you. And so we commit this to you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. And now, hello.
Okay. We're going to have our Constitution teacher, Deborah Fluke, to be letting us in this Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone may stand, please.
I have one thing for you to say. When you say one nation under God, don't put a comma. One nation under God. One nation under God. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Have a seat.
This is the moment that we would like to introduce the governor to be, okay? Our greatest Steve Hilton. Steve. He's pulling up. We were checking last time he was pulling up, so maybe safety getting him parked, but we'll.
Well, while we wait, let's take a quick commercial break, shall we? So listen, we're going to do some Q&A later on today, okay? Some of the questions, this is kind of why they wanted you to sign up for this, so that if you had a question, you'd be able to submit that question. However, they're going to answer many of those questions, but then we're going to open it up to let you, as you're sitting there, because maybe all of a sudden you're thinking, hey, I have a question for this guy, and I want to ask that question. So we're going to let a microphone be passed around to you. Now, I am not a guy that likes to do that. It gets crazy sometimes, you know what I mean? But they want to do that. So here, I'm going to give you some rules for when we do it, okay? You have to be nice, okay? Ask your question. It's to ask a simple question, not to get into a debate or an argument. Please monitor your language, okay? And as long as you do that, then you get to have your question. But we also have a guy in the sound booth that the moment that you start to get too rowdy, bing, you're deleted, you're off, okay? It'll be over. They do it to me all the time on Sunday mornings, you know, so I know how it goes. And so that's kind of how the rules will be. We just want you to be honorable. This is a place where you need your questions answered. And so we want to give you that chance to ask those questions. Does that make sense, gang? Okay? And by the way, my name is Rob. I'm the pastor here at Calvary Chapel. And so welcome to all of you that are not only part of Calvary Chapel, but if you're visiting us, welcome. And I want to say thank you to our ushers, our parking lot guys, our safety team. They have been here all morning long getting ready for you guys. So you can give them a big round of applause too. So, isn't this fun? Yes, he probably thought, Ramona, how bad can it be to get there? Looked at it on the maps, it looks easy until he started coming up 67 and Wildcat Canyon or wherever he came up today, right?
And you even preached last night.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, they had me cut off 15 minutes early today. Do you know how hard that is for a pastor to do, right? So I don't know. I don't know where Steve is. He here yet?
She's on the phone.
She's on the phone with him. Isn't this interesting? So, huh? 1 o'clock. So I don't know. I can't sing for you. So you know that's out. But anyway. So where'd you go?
With no further ado, we are pleased to welcome Steve Hilton, the governor to be. He will make California gold in the gym. Steve Hilton. Did we unlock the door back there for Steve? Did he get locked out?
Going through security.
Here comes Steve. Steve, we need you, we want you, we want to get rid of gruesome. Gruesome need to be
How are you all doing?
How's it going? I know, I can hear them. So where's Steve? We need Steve. Well, it's all right. You got Steve. I'm here. It's all good. It's all good. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. Right, are we ready here?
Oh yeah, we've been
Are
ready.
we going to get started? No, you look
Yeah.
incredible.
This is your color.
Thank you. It's got exactly. I think this phone is ringing.
Steve is here. He's about to give a great speech.
Exactly. Is it the president? He's on the phone wishing us well. Exactly. Well, what a beautiful morning. What a great day. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much to all of you for coming here at this very special day. We're going to have fun. Is that right?
Yeah.
I'm going to talk for a little bit. We're going to have some questions, and you may even get some answers. We're going to have some very good answers. But I want to just say one thing, actually a couple of things before we get into the normal political thing. We're in a very special place. I want to thank you again, all of you, for coming here. We love our state of California. This is the year we're going to get it back. And we're going to get into that. But first thing I just want to say, apart from thanking all of you for being here and everything you do for your families and your community and for our state and for our country, I know you work so hard and you care so much about all those things. I want to say something actually about what it's like being a candidate And there's some people I would like to thank who aren't here with us today. So it's great. I'm enjoying this. I love being on the road. I love meeting all of you. And I love seeing our beautiful state. But it's hard work. As you can see, I've been putting in the work and the miles. I've been traveling our beautiful state. It's a great honor and a joy and a privilege to do that. But there's something I want you to know, which is there is a heavy burden on the family of a candidate. And I just want to say right now, with all of you here, to think about that a little bit, and to say that I'm so deeply grateful to my amazing wife and my amazing sons for putting up with all of this and allowing me to do this and sharing their husband and father with all of you. They're right behind me, you're right behind me, we're going to do that, but I just wanted to say thank you to them. And I think on your behalf as well, because I know how much you understand that, because I know how much family is important to all of us. So, thank you to my family, thank you to all of you. Let's do this, everyone. Let's save our beautiful state of California. There's one other thing I just wanted to say before we get into the normal things that we talk about at these town halls and these events that I've been doing. Because, of course, it's a very special day today. It's Palm Sunday. Happy Palm Sunday. Now, I'm not a pastor. I'm not gonna get into all of that. But actually, there is a real significance to this day that I think we should reflect on as we think about the journey that we are all on together to save our beautiful state of California. Because, of course, we remember that triumphant entry of Jesus into Jerusalem on this day. And actually there is, of course, so much deep faith in that moment. And there's a significance there, of course, that others can speak to much better than me. But actually, there is a relevance to what we're all engaged in here, because what was he doing that day? He was challenging the authority and the power that had oppressed people for so long. That's what that moment was also about. That's why it was so significant in so many other ways. And it was also a moment of hope. It was a moment of hope that things could change and things would be better. And that's what we need to remember today, of all days. Today is a moment of hope, because we are here together. And the people of California are getting together to challenge the oppressive rulers of this state who've led us astray so badly all these years. But we are here today to say that is coming to an end. Hope is on the horizon. And on this Palm Sunday, we remember that too. And we are filled with hope for our state, aren't we? Yes. We are filled with hope. Now let me get to the politics. Because in the end, this is an election. This is an election that we have before us. And I tell you who you've got before you this morning. The leading candidate for governor of California. Leading in the polls, leading on fundraising. The first TV, do you remember the first TV debate? It's about a month ago now. Anyone see that first TV debate? Well, it was me against 6 Democrats. I liked that, actually. I enjoyed myself very much. In fact, at the end of it, I felt like saying, you get this closing statement at the end. And I'm very polite, so I didn't say this, but this is what I thought. These Democrats didn't put up much of a fight. For the next debate, can you send me some fresh Democrats? Well, they didn't. But you know what they did do? They cancelled the debate. Did you see that this week? They cancelled the debate. They don't like it when a Republican is leading. They don't like it at all. But that's okay. We're going to beat them anyway, aren't we? So just a quick thing I want to say about that first TV debate. because it really, I just spoke about hope. And that TV debate, that first one, really, for me, was a moment of hope that captured something that I felt all along as I've been on this journey. I launched my campaign last April, at the end of April, in Huntington Beach in Orange County. And even before then, for 3 years, I've been traveling our state, listening to Californians, learning about what we need to change and how we can make things better and solutions. And I've been doing all that work. And all those years, I've had a growing sense of hope that actually we can do this. This really is the year when we can make the change happen. But that first TV debate, for me, was a moment of hope that I hadn't really seen before. And it came at the end, when they did a poll of the statewide TV audience, not a Republican audience, the whole state who was watching, millions of Californians. They did a poll. Who won the debate? Who made the best impression? Well, do you remember? Okay, so this is going to sound a little braggy, so I apologize for that, but I remember the numbers. So two of the Democrats on stage, they got a very round number, 0. and then, I mean, I can't even. Betty Yee, I don't know. Anyone heard of Betty Yee? She's the most famous thing. You could need to know about her. I did an interview with her on Piers Morgan. She starts going on about how she wants to see, if she's the governor of California and presiding over the Olympics in LA in 2028, a gender-neutral Olympics. Yeah, 3%. Javier Becerra, Biden's HHS secretary. Did someone say he was an idiot? I'm just hearing things. I didn't say that. He's, famous for masking our 2-year-olds in the pandemic. He got 4%. The billionaire climate fanatic Tom Steyer, 6%. The mayor of San Jose, Matt Mahan. Even his supporters are saying the reason they should vote for him is because he's the least insane Democrat. Look, this is California. We are the greatest state in the greatest nation on earth. Yeah. You think we can do a bit better than least insane? Anyway, he got 17%. Steve Hilton, 66%. I know it is a bit braggy, but no, here's the point. I didn't do anything amazing. I just told the truth. That after 16 years of one-party rule by these Democrats, we've got the highest poverty rate in the country, the highest unemployment rate in the country, the highest cost of living in the country, electric, gas, rent, housing, water, insurance, everything the most expensive. US News and World Report ranks California 50th out of 50 states on opportunity. Wallet Hub ranks us 50th out of 50 on affordability. Chief Executive Magazine ranks California 50th out of 50 states on the business climate. No way, after 16 years of one-party rule that have been a total failure on every front. It is time for change in California. And all I did was tell that simple truth very clearly, and the people of California responded. There is a majority for change in this state. People want the change, and we are going to be ready to lead them and to turn this state around and restore this beautiful state to its glory. That's what's going to happen in November this year. So I don't want to talk too much. I'm going to stop in a minute, and I know we've got my colleagues on the golden ticket. We've got lots of exciting things planned for you today, but I really want to have time for some questions. That's the part that I like, but I just want to do 2 things. I just want to say, are you kicking me out already?
No.
What's happening?
I wanted this one.
Before we do the Q&A with Steve, we would like to introduce Gloria Romero as the Lieutenant Governor running mate with Steve. So the video, please, Chris.
I'm Gloria Romero. I'm a Republican, and I'm running for Lieutenant Governor of California. I was the majority leader of the California Senate the first woman elected to this historic office. And yes, I was a Democrat, but after seeing years of Democrat one-party rule in Sacramento and its failed outcomes for everyday people, I left the party. I walked away. In the last few years under Gavin Newsom and Democrats, we've seen $250 billion of waste, fraud, and abuse. $18 billion for a bullet train, 0 tracks. $24 billion to end homelessness. Can't tell us where it went. $32 billion in unemployment cash stolen. And it goes on and on and on. Meanwhile, California leads the nation in poverty, food, gas, housing, energy. It's unaffordable for too many Californians. Only half our kids can read and write, basic levels of proficiency. California has been totally run by Democrats for 16 years. They fail us every day. As Ronald Reagan said when he left the Democrats to become a Republican, I didn't leave the party, they left me. Maybe you've never voted for a Republican before, and maybe you don't agree on all the issues. That's okay, but we need to hold the Sacramento Democrats accountable for their affordability, crime, education, and housing. I'm going to hold their feet to the fire. Join us. Walk away like I did. Demand a better future for California. Vote for change. Together, we can make California better again.
All right. Thank you so much. So I'm very proud that Gloria agreed to run with me as Lieutenant Governor. That is not always done. In fact, it's never been done before. Did you know that? This is the first time in the history of our state that you've had a candidate for governor who's put together a team to make things happen. Because we all know it's never about one person, it's about all of us, it's about a team. And that's what I've been building to take our state back and to turn our state around. Running with me for Lieutenant Governor, Gloria Romero, as you saw. Running with me for State Attorney General, Michael Gates. You'll be hearing from him later. The fighter from Huntington Beach. Who sued Gavin Newsom over housing mandates and voter ID and sanctuary state law. And running with me for State Controller, Herb Morgan. Local boy. Why do we need Herb Morgan? Because we need to find and stop the fraud and the waste and the corruption. And with me and Herb and Michael and Gloria, we're going to get to the bottom of it. You know what we announced a couple of months ago? People sometimes would ask me on the campaign trail, Steve, when you get there, in order to cut the taxes and cut the bloat and the government, you're going to bring in Doge. No. I said, I'm not going to bring in Doge, I'm going to be Doge. It's my job. It's our job. And so we announced a couple of months ago, CalDOGE, the California Department of Government Efficiency. It's already working. We are already uncovering the fraud. 3 fraud reports and many more to come. We are doing it even before we're elected. We're making it happen, and when we're elected, we're going to stop it in its tracks and get this state back on track. Right, are we going to do questions now?
Yes, with no further ado.
Very good.
With no further ado, we will
Oh, Nick,
introduce
can I just say Nick Shirley?
Susan.
So you said Nick Shirley, get Nick Shirley. I saw Nick Shirley on Friday night. I was with him, we just put out a video, and I was able to thank him personally for everything he's done to find and stop fraud in California.
Okay, now we're gonna head on to the pre-submitted questions that submitted previously, and the audience is here, and Susan will be moderating the questions to Steve.
Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
Well, and I have the honor of presenting these questions that were submitted ahead of the event today. And then as time permits, we will turn over questions to the audience. So hopefully some of these will hit your questions.
Like the hat. I'm not sure. It's to me.
Just one, Steve. Just one.
Put it on, Steve.
I have a no hat rule. Sometimes it can take you in all sorts of strange directions.
Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. First question comes from Lynette. How will the gerrymandering affect our vote?
Well, the good news is, in one way, that it won't affect this vote for the future of our state in California, because the gerrymandering that they did, the outrageous Prop 50 gerrymandering, was only for the federal districts, for Congress. It didn't affect state legislative districts, and of course it doesn't affect the statewide races like for governor and attorney general and lieutenant governor, because the state is the whole district. So to that extent, it doesn't have an impact. So we mustn't be discouraged because of the gerrymandering. It doesn't change anything about our prospects to win this year in terms of this governor's race and all the statewide races. But I do want to say something about this gerrymandering and what it means, because it's not the first time. They've been gerrymandering for years, these Democrats. And even today, one of the things that people say, maybe it's another one of the questions, so I won't preempt it, but sometimes people say, well, what are you going to do about when you're elected, the state legislature and it's controlled by the Democrats, and what are you going to do? Because they control it with a 2/3 majority. And that's true, they do have a 2/3 majority. Well, first of all, we are going to work incredibly hard to break the Democrat supermajority this year. And I'm telling you, as the person who will be at the top of the ticket, I will be working incredibly hard, not just for my race and my election, not just for my colleagues on the golden ticket and the other statewide candidates. I'll be working incredibly hard to help elect Republicans at every level in our state, including for the state assembly and the state senate, so we break the supermajority. But even if that doesn't work, just want to be clear, that supermajority in the legislature, it's not a legitimate supermajority because it is the result of gerrymandering. They have a 2/3 majority. Since when have they had 2/3 of the vote in California? They don't. It's not the will of the people that they have a 2/3 majority, so I'm not going to treat it as some great thing we have to be in awe of. We'll take it seriously, we'll try and defeat it, but they've been gerrymandering for years, not just last year.
Thank you. Kay asks, what would be the first thing you would do as governor?
Okay, so this is going to be a little bit of a longer answer because I've thought about this a lot. There's one very quick thing I can do. A day one thing that'll start to make a difference, because I want to show people that, you elect a Republican and things start to happen quickly. I've got a plan that I'm running. I'm going to get to that in a second. That's really the answer to the sort of deeper answer to the question. But there is one very quick thing I want to say. So they've been gouging us on everything for so long. We have the highest taxes in the country for the worst results. All of that is going to have to change. I've got a plan to make our state Californiable. I'll get to that in a second. But there's one quick thing we can do. Among all the other things, where they're gouging us and putting in all these, what I call stealth, they talk about a wealth tax. They've been using stealth taxes, where they've been sneakily taxing us. Well, one of those areas is vehicle registration. So in most states, it costs under $100 a year to register your vehicle. Not in California. What is it, 600, 700, 800, 1,000? Some people tell me they pay over 2,000 to register. And you look at the bill and where it goes, and it's all this total nonsense. It's all just going into that. Only a little bit of it is for the roads. By the way, we have the highest gas tax and the highest cost for everything, and the worst roads in the country as well. It's just going into their slush fund, their bottomless money pit. So all of that is going to end, and this is something I can do straight away. We are going to limit vehicle registration to the basic registration fee of $71 per vehicle per person per year. Now, there's two other big things that happen on day one. Number one, I'm going to send a budget to the legislature. The main policy-making vehicle in California is the budget, the governor's budget. I'm going to be sending it to the legislature, and it will enact all the things that are part of the Californiable plan. So let me just quickly run through what they are. Number one, we are going to end the Democrat climate insanity. Open up California oil and gas production, keep the refineries open, so that $5, $6, $7, or $8 gas, we're going to have $3 gas in California. We are going to have common sense on energy policy. So we're going to kill the ridiculous windmills and the subsidies for the solar farms and use California natural gas to generate electricity. So instead of electric bills which are more than double the national average, we are going to cut your electric bills in half. We are going to cut the spending, the bloat, the fraud, the waste, the corruption, so we can cut taxes in California. Your first $100,000 tax-free. We are going to end the outrageous unfairness where Californians who work incredibly hard and pay their taxes and do the right thing can barely afford healthcare as the costs are going up so much. And at the same time, with Newsom spending up to $20 billion a year on free healthcare for illegal immigrants who shouldn't even be here. No way. That is going to end. We're going to end free healthcare for illegal immigrants so we can lower healthcare costs for you. And then finally, the fifth point on the Cal Affordable Plan. We are going to end their outrageous war on single-family homes and the suburban lifestyle in California. We're going to get rid of the ridiculous building codes and the environmental regulations and the labor regulations that make it so expensive and impossible to build anywhere. Instead of forcing housing into the places that don't want it, we're going to allow housing to be built in the places that do want it. So our kids, instead of thinking they have to move to Tennessee or Florida or wherever it may be, to have that dream of owning their own home, they can do it right here in California. So parents can see their children, and their grandparents can see their grandchildren, and people can see California once again as the best place to start and raise a family. So we will restore the California dream of a home you can afford to buy. So day one, all of that in the budget sent to the legislature, and I will dare them to block it after all their lectures on democracy and overturning elections. Are they really going to overturn the will of the people who will have voted for my Cal Affordable Plan? That's the day one action that I'll be taking as governor.
This is a long question. This is from Neva. There is a big problem with animal control departments. California is supposed to be a no-kill state, but some counties go overboard with euthanasia of animals. There are a lot of animal rights advocates like myself. LA County gives $31 million for animal care, but only 3% goes for the care of animals. Riverside is just as bad. Some shelters say they euthanize for space, when in fact whistleblowers say there is plenty of room. Will you take a stand for animals?
Yes, I really care about this. We have 2 wonderful dogs at home, and we have some chickens as well. As I think about Easter and the eggs coming, we have some wonderful chickens. And so the thing is that it is really outrageous. It's a sign of a sickness in society when we don't treat animals with care and love. And so I feel very strongly about it. I've spent a little bit of time on this issue. And in fact, my friend Bill Esali, who's now the US Attorney for the Central District, doing a fantastic job for President Trump now as part of the Department of Justice, prosecuting fraud and so on. Bill cares very much about this as well, and a couple of years ago he actually wrote a piece of legislation that would deal with this issue, including things like making sure that to take away all the excuses for the euthanizing. For example, that you've got to let people know if they're out. You don't just sort of assume, oh well, there's no one to take care of these animals. You've got to make sure that they properly try hard to find new homes for them, which they're not. And so there's more detail in it than that, but I just want you to know that bill that was written by Bill Esali, I think goes a long way to solving the problem. And what I will be able to do as governor is find the parts of that I can implement through the executive branch, including making sure that any money that goes to local government in this area from the state, we use that as leverage to get them to do the right thing, which we must.
From Matthew. How will you reduce the homeless in California, and will you cut SNAP benefits?
Right, let's do the homeless first. So this is an absolute scandal. Can you believe that we are now I mean, it's nearly 20 years now we've had this absolute crisis. Other places don't have this. You don't see this in other states or in other countries. And you have Newsom bragging about how we're the 4th biggest economy in the world. Well, shame on him then for letting this happen. They've done nothing about it. And they keep announcing they're going to do something. I was here not far from here, down by the 5 in just south of San Diego. There was a freeway, just right by the freeway there. He made this announcement in 2022. Caltrans property, that's state property, the freeways and whatever, he would clean it up. And he did this photo op with t-shirt and trash bags. We're going to clean up the homeless encampments. 2 years later, he makes the exact same announcement. Different t-shirt, same photo op, this time in LA. We're going to clean up the homeless, as if he'd never made the first announcement. It was just shameless. And that time, in 2024, he said, this is a direct quote, "If we don't deal with this problem, we don't deserve to be in office." Well, you said it, Gavin. Because I went back to the San Diego place. Now, 2 years on, it's still there. Nothing's happened. So here's what I would do. It's a 3-point plan. Number 1, these homeless encampments are illegal. They are against all of them are illegal. They've always been illegal. For years, these politicians, state, local, whatever, they've hid behind all these court rulings and said, well, there's nothing we can do and we can't, the homeless people have rights and we can't. It's not true. There was a ruling called the Boise ruling that Boise, Idaho, the Ninth Circuit made many years ago, and they hid behind that saying, oh, you can't clear the homeless encampments unless you have sufficient shelter beds available. But it didn't define what shelter meant. These people interpreted it as a $900,000 permanent supported housing unit for their cronies in the homeless industrial complex to make money off of. That's how they've interpreted it. They could have cleared these years ago with cheap, low-cost shelter beds that could have been put in place, but they chose not to do that. Well, now even that excuse is gone because that Boise ruling from many years ago was just overturned in 2024 by the Supreme Court. In a case called, it's very important, Grants Pass versus Oregon. It's overturned. Now there is no excuse. These encampments are illegal. They must be removed. We must enforce the law. And when I'm governor, I will use state law enforcement resources to remove every homeless encampment in California. Yeah. Second, that's number 1. Number 2, but then we have to think about the people who are in that situation with care and compassion. Over 80% of the people in that situation have severe mental health problems or drug and alcohol addiction. But we're not treated. We used to have something called drug courts. They shut down nearly 20 years ago. It was very clear. You get clean or you go to jail. Not a choice to just continue to live on the streets as an addict. Last year in the legislature, even the Democrat supermajority legislature passed a bill called the Sober Housing Act. As the name suggests, it would have required sobriety as a condition of getting shelter. For just a small step in the direction of common sense, it would have taken 10% of the budget and put it into sober housing. The Democrat supermajority even passed that. Well, guess what Gavin Newsom did? He vetoed that bill. Shame on him. Shame on him. Yeah, I know, it's incredible. Because he wants to protect his cronies in the homeless industrial complex, the donors who give him money, all these non-profits who are making a fortune off of failing to deal with homelessness year after year after year. $24 billion of our money going into that slush fund, that scam. It's very clear when I'm governor, it won't be 10%. 100% of the budget needs to be devoted to making sure that people are off drugs and alcohol and get their lives back on track as a condition of shelter. And then the third point, mental health. Again, Gavin Newsom just says all these things. He had a ballot initiative that he pushed in 2024 in March, Proposition 1, which could be he's going to solve this problem once and for all. And provide mental health care, all this. Again, it didn't happen. That actually cut budgets for counties for mental health provision. cut the budgets and diverted the money into the homeless industrial complex. That's what actually happened. And so now we have an absolutely appalling situation where we have so few mental health beds in California. Do you know where most people with mental health problems are being treated? Jail, exactly. Just last week I was up in the northern part of the state, a sheriff telling me, I relayed something that another sheriff had told me near the Bay Area where I live, that said 50% of the prisoners in his jail had severe mental health problems. This sheriff said, no, here it's 70%. Someone has said, another way someone put it, the largest mental health institution in the country, Los Angeles Central Jail. This is barbaric. How do these people get away with it, these Democrats, lecturing us for all these years about compassion and their values when they tolerate a situation like this? So we're going to change all that. And there's a very important change we need to make, which is technical, but I want to explain it. I'm sorry it's a long answer, but I've spent a lot of time thinking about this and working on it. I want to tell you how we're actually going to solve the problem. And so with mental health, there's a very specific thing. Most of the people we're talking about in this conversation about homelessness, low-income people. So when you talk about healthcare and mental health care, that connects to Medicaid. And in government, I've worked in government. I mean, you know me probably from the TV, but most of my career has actually been in business, working in business, starting and running companies. So I approach things from a pragmatic, problem-solving attitude. And I worked in the government for a couple of years. Back in England, I was senior advisor to the Prime Minister, responsible for helping to implement our domestic policy reform program. So I've got that experience at a very high level in business and government about how things work. And one of the most important things to understand is that the money flows really determine the policy. And with Medicaid, when it was set up in the mid-1960s, there was this very particular rule that was created. And it reflected a belief at the time that people didn't want to see these big, old-fashioned mental institutions and insane asylums, and they wanted people to be treated in the community and so on. So they set up this rule called the IMD rule, Institutions of Mental Disease. And here's what the rule stated, that there is no reimbursement to the states for mental health care that is provided in any facility with more than 16 beds. It's a very specific, a 16-bed limit. Now imagine if there was a 16-bed limit on just regular hospitals. How crazy inefficient that would be. Well, that's what we've got going on for mental health. And the theory was, we treat people in nice, small units in the community, but it's ended up being completely captured by interest groups and lobbies who want to protect that. Of course, today we would be able to have large-scale mental health facilities in a humane way and a thoughtful. Of course we can do that. The first Trump administration actually created a waiver called the IMD waiver for states to exempt themselves from the 16-bed limit. Other states have done it. Well, guess what? The geniuses in California have not done it. As governor, I would. So that's the plan. Enforce the law, remove homeless encampments, get people clean and sober, and provide the mental health care that we need.
Excellent. The next question. This person was told that Mr. Hilton doesn't fill out questionnaires or pledge forms. Is this true? And if so, why not?
I generally don't, and there's a very specific reason for that. Look, I've never run for office before, so it's all new to me. I'm an outsider running to shake up this very obviously broken system. And one thing that happens, I've noticed, is that you are inundated as a candidate with, I think it's not even hundreds, it's like in the thousands maybe of questionnaires. Every single lobby group, interest group, you name it, they send you their questionnaire, and it's a little bit of a blackmail, and they say, here's the questions, and then we'll decide our endorsement. That's how it works. And then you read the questionnaire, and some of it is fine, and it's just your positions on various issues. But then usually when you get to the end of them, it's all the specific things that they want from you. And sometimes it's things you want to give them, but other times it's just basically lobbying. And these unions, and all the different unions saying, will you protect our this benefits and that pension thing and whatever it is. All these different things. That's not how it's supposed to work, frankly. I think we've had enough of these special interests running our state and capturing the politicians and turning them into their puppets. And so my attitude is that everyone can see where I stand on issues, and I'm very happy to answer questions, and I've been more open than any other candidate. We've been doing these town halls for months, up and down the state. Anyone can come, anyone can ask me anything. We do sessions on X. We have one tonight at 5. X spaces where anyone can ask me anything. I don't know if you'll find a candidate who's expressed their views on more issues over a longer period of time than me. I hosted a national TV show for all those years. I've written 4 books, and I'm pretty clear about where I stand on things. And so, of course, it's true that some of the questionnaires are things where I would easily be able to answer with no problem at all. And I agree with everything on there, and I'm happy to say, yes, I'm with you on this, that, or the other. But you've got to have a principle, because when you start picking and choosing which ones you answer, that itself, you're sort of playing the game. So I made a decision really early on that I just didn't want to get into that. So that's why. And also, by the way, it just takes up a huge amount of time. And we're not some massive campaign. We're a little startup. There's a couple of us. We're trying to get around the state and do all these things to win the election. So I just don't, apart from a practical point of view, want us to get bogged down into spending our days answering all these questionnaires. Definitely hundreds. I think it can get into the thousands. You won't believe all the different things, all these different groups. Every single pressure group, activist group, lobby group, union, you name it. Things you never even knew existed. They're all sending you their questionnaires. Now, sometimes it's actually much more straightforward. And I'm very happy to get endorsements, but I'm not going to run around pandering to special interests to get their endorsements. I'm not going to do that. And I'll give you a good example where, it's not always that, sorry, it's a little bit of a diversion, but one of the things that's most important, why I feel so strongly that this is our year and we can really get this done and save our state this year, is we've got so many advantages going into this election season, including, as I said earlier, there's a majority for change in California. More people think we need change than don't. In the midterm election, it's all about the turnout, getting your votes out. That's what it's all about. The party and the candidate that does the best at getting the people to show up and vote will do best. And we've got some massive advantages this year, a couple of secret weapons. Number one is these ballot initiatives, and I'm sure many of you have been involved in getting them on the ballot. Of course, we're going to have voter ID on the ballot in November. So that's going to help us. But this is the relevance of the questionnaire. There's another one that's really important, that the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association worked on. Save Prop 13. Save Prop 13. So, I was very happy to see, without getting into one of these ridiculous, endless questionnaires, that I did get the endorsement of the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, which I'm very proud about. So I'll stop there, but that's the reason. I'm sorry, I just really wanted to explain it. When you read these things, you see they're basically just lobbying. And I just know where I stand on things. I'll tell you where I stand, but I'm not going to pander in order to get these endorsements.
Good.
Next question is from Jim. Governor Newsom
Gruesome, yeah.
and the Democratic Party supermajority are clearly bent on driving the tax base out of California. Making it as hard to live here as possible seems to be their goal. These are not stupid people. They must know that so much of what they're doing is destroying our state. Is there an ulterior motive to their actions, or are they simply as maliciously less than intelligent as it looks on the surface?
So I think there's a couple, it's a really thoughtful question, and I'm going to try and answer it in a thoughtful way. Although when I think about Newsom, I'll say a couple of things that it's not very thoughtful, but I just think it's true. Don't you think it's time we had a governor with less hair? Yeah. I think we're done with that. That is very, very important. Very important part of the message. when I think about Newsom. We really are sick of him. So I think this is what's going on. You've got now, it's 16 years of one-party rule. They've run everything. All the statewide offices, two-thirds majority, as I said, illegitimate, but total control of the legislature. All the big counties, all the big cities, the California Supreme Court, that's now their puppet, 6-1 Democrat, majority on there. You know, these Democrats go on about Trump's hand-picked Supreme Court. Oh, what do we have here? 6-1 by the Democrat appointees, constantly supporting the political aims of Newsom and the regime. So you've got total one-party rule, and actually, if you look at, I mean, I say 16 years because that's since the last Republican governor, Arnold, left office, but a lot of people feel that in his second term, at least, it wasn't that Republican. I mean, I wasn't here then. I mean, I'm friends with Arnold, he's great. But actually, the legislature goes back much further than 16 years of Democrat control. I mean, really a long time. And so but let's just focus on the 16 years of total power. It's a little bit of what I was getting at the beginning when I was reflecting on Palm Sunday and hope and overthrowing, challenging the authority. So here's the thing. I've seen it before. I've been involved in, as I said, business and government, the highest level for many years, in different ways. And when you have concentrated power for that long, it makes you arrogant, and it makes you complacent, and in the end it leads to corruption. And they stop thinking about the people, because they assume that they're going to be in power forever. And they don't need to bother thinking about us, because they're just going to roll along and going to get elected, and there's nothing to worry about, and Democrats will be in power. So all they start thinking about is they look inward, and it's their donors, the unions, and the trial lawyers, and it's their activists, and the people who really control them. And they just forget about us, the people, we the people, don't matter to them. They truly, so I don't actually think it's malicious. I mean, some of it is very, I mean, you could use a much stronger word than malicious. I mean, you look at the gender extremism and what's going on there, and you look at what's going on in our family courts and in places like child protective services and all this horror, and some of the stories that I've been hearing on the road about what's going on with families and the assault of these far-left bureaucrats and their ideology on families. I mean, never mind malicious, the word I would use is evil. So there's some very dark things going on. And that is intentional. And the other part that's intentional, and it connects to this arrogance of power, is they've become completely captured by ideology. And not even necessarily believing it, just showing it, because again, all they want to do is please the pressure groups and their activists. Because some of this stuff is so insane it doesn't make sense. Like, you can't explain it any other way. I mean, look at what's going on with, I mentioned $3 gas, opening up California oil and gas production. What they're doing on oil and gas just makes no sense. Even in their own terms, it doesn't make sense. I mean, what are we doing? They're shutting down California oil and gas production. We're not using much, and since their war on fossil, the amount we use is basically the same. All they've done is flip it. It used to be that most of the oil and gas we used was from here, in state. Our number one provider was California. Now it's flipped. Nearly 80% of what we use is imported. There are no pipelines for oil and gas into California, so it has to be shipped in, all of it. We are now shipping oil halfway around the world on giant super tankers, spewing out carbon emissions in the name of climate. It just doesn't make sense. You cannot. They are literally increasing carbon emissions by doing that, because these ships bringing the oil. By the way, you know our number one provider of oil today? It used to be California, as I said. Do you know the country? Iraq. The last number I saw was 23%. I mean, what are you doing? The other number two, I think, is the Amazon rainforest. It's just insane. So that is just I mean, definitely idiotic, but it's ideology gone mad. You know, they are so, all they think about when it's something like that is the ideology. They want to look like they're fighting fossil fuels by shutting down the industry here. But they're not. I mean, so it's just this detachment from reality that you get after this 16 years of this insular ruling elite. And that's why I think that they are going to lose this year, because they've got so complacent, they assume that they're just going to win. I mean, I always say, that when I spoke earlier about the secret weapons, we got these ballot initiatives. There's another secret weapon, or a few of them. The Democrat candidates. I mean, look. I mean, look where we ended up. I mean, this is what you get. Again, after 16 years of one-party rule, you get, it's just like a conveyor belt of worse and worse career politicians. I mean, even if you look back to Jerry Brown, I mean, compared to Newsom, he's incredible. And look who's coming after Newsom. Eric Swalwell. I mean, you know, Governor Fang Fang, exactly. Katie Porter. They're just not serious people. But again, it's that sort of arrogance. It's like, but this is what a dying regime looks like. I've seen it many times across the world in my career. It has the whiff of death about it, this Democrat regime, and that's why we're going to beat them in November.
Thank you. This one comes from Deborah. How would you address the subject of human trafficking that is so prevalent in California?
Thank you for the question. I've spent a lot of time on this. I'm sorry to say, because it's just the most, I mean, I use the word evil. I mean, look at this. So, you know, we've now become, by the account of some people, the world capital for child sex trafficking. World capital. And the heart of it is in LA, a place called Figueroa Street. It's known as the Blade. It's a 3-mile stretch of this street in LA. It's kind of not far from the airport around there. You would never go to it if you weren't involved in this. And I've been a few times. I've some amazing pastors who have put together a team to rescue these children from the grip of these cartels and gangs, child trafficking. I mean, you asked the question, so I'm going to give you the answer, and I'm going to talk about it in a little bit of detail, if you don't mind. Because we need to understand what's going on.
Yes.
And I do have a plan to fix it, and we must fix it. So when you hear that term, human trafficking, and in particular child sex trafficking, you probably think, I don't know what you think, but a lot of people may think, trafficking, okay, so that's, I don't know, kids from South America or Russia or China, whatever, smuggled across borders, and there's a bit of that. But you know, most of these kids that are being sold for sex in our state, they're from California. They are our kids. Now look, it doesn't, in one sense, they're all God's children, it doesn't matter. It's evil and sick and terrible wherever they are coming from, which we have to stop. But it's much worse than I think people realize. So that's true. I mean, I've been there a few times. I say, you drive up and down that 3-mile stretch and around that area, you've got, there's something so disgusting about it, because again, the images that may conjure up when you hear this, you think, well, it's some dingy room or a basement or something. It's there on the streets, in open air, block after block, mile after mile. Young girls, sometimes boys. Just, I mean, we were the second time. I mean, I just can't tell you. You on the side streets, you've got the cars lined up with the guys buying these children for sex. It's like it's some kind of sick drive-through. I mean, I'm telling you, I've seen this many times, and nothing happens. It's just going on. You don't see hardly any police, nothing. It's just unbelievable. every single corner, both sides of the street, for miles. Hundreds. Every night. In LA. I mean, I want to tell you a story of one that was, it's a hopeful story because this poor girl was rescued by the people that I was with after we were there. I saw the pictures of her in the vehicle. She was from, I think, near Temecula, 14 years old. And she got it, you can say, well, she shouldn't have done this, I understand, but whatever. She bought some weed, I think, bought some weed and owed money and posted something about it on social media. And one of these disgusting traffickers saw it, oh, there's an opportunity. And they reached out to her and they said, I can help you, and they met up in a Starbucks or whatever. Within 4 hours of meeting up, just not far from here, this girl was on the streets being sold for sex. They took her up to LA, they changed her clothes, gave her some drugs, put her on the street. She was rescued, thankfully, for the parents put out an alert 5 days later. Thank goodness. In that 5-day period, she had been traded 3 times from different gangs, like some commodity. This is what's going on. I went back the second time, and it was within a month or so of the first time. The first time I couldn't believe it. The second time, it's actually worse, because it's so shocking to feel that this incredible evil that you've seen is just still there, night after night. Nothing's being done. Actually, the second time was even worse. There's a girl, and it's hard to tell just from looking. I'm just telling you, she dressed like a prostitute. 7 or 8 years old. I'm telling you, a little girl. That's not the typical age, I believe, is sort of 10 to 14. Sorry, but you asked. So this is what's going on. And under the noses of these people, these Democrats, who endlessly lecture us about gender equality and how they're the party of women and all this. And this is going on. It's just absolutely, and they're passing legislation that makes it worse. Scott Wiener had a bill that was intended to, stop discrimination against trans women, that now makes it harder for the police to do anything about this. It's just unbelievable. And so I've spent a lot of time on it, and about a month ago, I went to Figueroa's. But by the way, I'll tell you another thing. The first time we went, we did a press conference to highlight it and start to lay out the first steps towards a plan to fix it. We went back to Figueroa Street, did a press conference. I went on the Friday night, it was on the Monday morning, about 9 a.m. And, just in the broad daylight, and just randomly, we were doing the press conference and just walking into the shop behind us on the other side of the street were girls being, just on the street at 9 a.m. in broad daylight. We didn't even plan it that way. I didn't even notice till after we saw the video. So what I did was go back there the second time, and then we did an event at a church on Figueroa Street, and you can see the video, and you look it all up, and it's on my website, with a plan to end this evil once and for all in California. And we are going to do it, and it's a very thorough plan. And I announced that day that I'm going, like what I said earlier about a team, I'm putting a team together right across the board. You see some of the golden ticket members will be with Blue Saw Gloria, and you'll see Michael Gates and Herb. But it's not just the statewide offices. I'm already putting together the team that will staff the administration. So I announced the other week in Fresno, the person I'm going to be nominating as Director of Natural Resources to help us with water and energy and forest management. And I announced about a month ago Kyle Lindsay, who's been a campaigner and an advocate and a deep Christian who's been fighting this evil for many, many years. And she will be the first ever Director of Anti-Trafficking Initiatives in California, and she will be bringing together full-time focus on stamping out this evil trade that's happening right here under our noses. That's my plan.
This one comes from Judy. Please give us a comparison of your leadership plan to what you understand is Chad Bianco's.
Well, I think that, obviously I'm here and he's not, so I'm going to try and be fair. And I think I should start by saying, truthfully, and you'd expect this, we're both Republicans, that on the most of the issues, we're pretty much on the same page. We might have slight differences of emphasis, but when it comes to the burden of tax and regulation and energy and all these things, honestly, we basically agree. There is one area of policy where actually I've noticed there is a big area of disagreement in terms of my position and his, which is immigration. And so, I'm just repeating what has been out there publicly, and you can look at it and see for yourself. But there's two areas where I think there's a really big difference. Number one is on enforcement of federal immigration law, where he made a video as sheriff saying that he and his deputy were very keen to emphasize that his department would not be working to enforce immigration law. And I totally disagree with that. And actually, I hear, and it's not just, other people say that, well, we can't, our hands are tied to the sanctuary state law. It's not true. The sanctuary state law was passed in 2017, SB 54. Of course, I disagree with it. And Chad, to be fair, again, I'm trying to be fair, he disagrees with it, right? He says very strongly, I'm against sanctuary law. I want to be really fair about it. That's what he says. But within the sanctuary state law, there's a section that's very clear that says you can have discretion, that's the word, on a whole long list of areas for state and local law enforcement to work with federal law enforcement. And I think that is the attitude we need. So when I am governor and Michael Gates is Attorney General, we will be there as a full and positive partner with the federal authorities to enforce all our laws, including federal immigration law. The other area within immigration where we disagree, and again, I'm sure maybe you haven't, but there are videos out there with this very clearly, which is that he believes, this is again trying to quote exactly, in a pathway to citizenship for all illegal immigrants, no matter how they got here. And I'm dead against that. And I'll tell you very clearly, we already have a pathway to citizenship. It's called legal immigration. It's called legal immigration. I just took it, so I know all about it. We moved here in 2012 with my wife and my two sons on a visa, and then we got a green card, and then applied for citizenship. That took 9 years. That's the right way to do it. As far as I'm concerned, that's the only way to do it. In terms of leadership style was the question. So on the policy, I think there's not, apart from that area of immigration, not much difference between us, truthfully. But I do think that there's a difference between being a governor and being a sheriff. I think they require different qualities and expertise and experience. As when you're a sheriff, and I'm sure he's a very good sheriff. And I hear from Riverside, people really love him as sheriff. Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe you tell me different, but anyway, I'm not doubting that. But it's different. I've seen how government works. I've operated at the highest level there. It's not just about issuing instructions. It really isn't. To make things happen in government, it's a different set of skills and expertise that you need. You've got to be able to craft policy solutions. You've got to have depth and range of expertise right across all of the policy areas, not just one. You have to be able to build coalitions. You have to make arguments. You have to be a good communicator. And so I think that you have to be pragmatic and problem solving. And so I think all the things that I've done in my career up to this point have prepared me very well for this job, both winning the election and then governing properly afterwards. Most of my career has been in business, working in business in the UK and all around the world, including for some of the biggest companies in the world, in all sorts of different areas, starting and running my own business, creating jobs, being responsible for that, for earning money and making a living that way, not just living off the taxpayer and just getting budgets handed to you, but actually, creating jobs and having the responsibility there, but also in government. And I'm not saying everything we did was perfect, far from it. I found it very frustrating, actually, my years as senior advisor to the Prime Minister trying to make change happen. But the point is, I saw how hard it is at first hand. It's really difficult. And I learned a lot from that experience. And it's really informed how I would operate as governor. And so I think all of that, plus my media experience, which I think is an asset in terms of winning the election and then being an advocate for change and mobilizing support behind the changes we're going to have to make, including standing up to all the different interests that are going to be trying to stop us, the unions and the climate fanatics and all the activist groups. We have to fight back against them. I know how to do that. I've been doing that for years. And then the final piece, I think, is my relationships, to be honest. You know, I've spent years now on the national stage. This is a big job. It is not a local job, Governor of California, and I've got those relationships at the highest level, from the president on down, at least half the cabinet are personal friends. I'll be ready on day one to get to work for California.
This one's from Steve. Will you repeal the gas tax?
So, we have the highest gas tax in the country and the worst roads in the country. So it's another example. We pay the most, we get the least. The governor can't just repeal the gas tax. Anyone who tells you that is just, it's not correct. It needs a special session of the legislature. Well, there are other ways of doing it. You can pass legislation to do it. Anything to do with taxes is very difficult to do unilaterally, truly. Some of this other stuff, and we can get into it, all these areas of policy, I've spent a lot of time studying it. There's a huge amount you can get done through executive action. Because a lot of the terrible stuff that's making life so difficult and expensive for Californians is coming from these agencies. CARB, the Air Resources Board, the Coastal Commission, the oil and gas, like I spoke about. That's CalGEM, the California Department of Geological and Energy Management. So that's something you can directly affect as governor. Kick out the climate fanatics, put in their common sense pro-energy people, give them executive orders to open up oil production. All of that you can do. Same with water for our farmers. There's a huge amount of things you can get done if you really understand how government works and how to use power effectively. And that's the work that I'm doing right now, getting ready. And the real comparison you could make is with the first Trump administration and the second Trump administration. Look how effective the president is this time around, because he was fully prepared and ready to go on day one. So that's the work that I'm doing right now. But the one area where actually it's hard for the governor to act unilaterally, because it's the law, and we believe in the law, unlike these Democrats, is taxes. You can't just delete taxes unilaterally. That has to go through the legislature. It just has to. Now, you can argue, you can work, you can negotiate. That's the point I made about crafting coalitions and compromises. And I do think, for example, that my tax plan, I mentioned one part of it, which is the pro-worker part. The people who've been really hurt the most by all these taxes and costs in California, including the gas tax, is working class Californians who can afford it the least. Really being crushed. And so I do think the priority for tax reduction, the first point on my plan is working class Californians. That's why it's your first 100 grand tax free. Now that, of course, that's for everyone. Even if you earn over 100,000, you'll still get that tax free amount. So it puts thousands of dollars in everyone's pocket, but it particularly helps working class people. Now actually I think we will get support for that. I think it's going to be very difficult for the Democrats to argue against that. I really believe we can get that through. But the gas tax, again, you've got some Democrats already saying that. The process for that will be to call it, I've said I would do this, call a special session of the legislature and demand that they suspend the gas tax. I've said I would do that. I can call the special session. The governor can do that, put it on the agenda, but in the end they have to vote for it. And so so I'm going to try. I've made that commitment. I announced this about a month ago, or actually a few weeks ago, on suspending the gas tax. Yes, we should do that. But actually, the stuff I know I can get done are these other things to change the regulations, open up oil production, all those things, which will reduce the cost of gas in California. Because actually, when you look at the difference in gas prices here in the rest of the country, it's at least $2 a gallon higher here than in the rest of the country. The gas tax is about 65, 70 cents of that. The majority of the price increase is actually all this regulatory stuff, which the governor has a more direct ability to deal with. So I'm going to try and do both, but the regulation part of it is going to be something I can guarantee to get done. The gas tax suspension, I have to be able to, you can only get that done with the legislature.
Thank you. This one's from Fong. Many people I've met said they didn't go out to vote because the cheating was so bad. What will you do to make people go out to vote, especially in June?
Well, I'm going to be running around with the most energetic, fired-up campaign you've ever seen in California. How about that? That's the first thing. And you're right about June, because in November, as I mentioned, we've got the ballot initiatives. That's going to help very much. Voter ID, Save Prop 13. Here's some good news, actually, on this. Of course, I agree with all of that, and I've said many times, all this endless fiddling around with the voting system that the Democrats have done, especially around the time of the pandemic and since, which is all about getting themselves partisan advantage by changing the rules. All of that has to go, and I don't understand. I mean, if you want to know what I'd like to see for our voting system, it's very simple. It's just like most other places. Vote on one day, count on one day, get the results on one day, paper ballots, no machines, voter ID, citizens only. What's wrong with that? So obviously we have to get elected before we can make all those changes happen, but there's two really encouraging areas that I want everyone to think about, because it's very important we're not discouraged. Of course it's true that we don't agree with all this stuff, but we can't let that discourage us from going out to vote or believing that it's not possible to win, because it is possible to win, because this is a much more Republican state than people think. And it's much more Republican than they want people to think. Now, not everything is being improved, but some really big things are. So one of the worst features of this system is the universal mail-in voting, where they send out the ballots to everyone on the voter rolls, and you combine that with these the incredibly inaccurate voter rolls, where you've got millions of people who are dead or moved out of state or moved to another location, and they're doubled up. So the estimate was, Michael Gates, I'm sure, will speak to this, because Michael was actually, one of the main things he focused on in the year he was at the Justice Department just now, was on election integrity. And in fact, he filed the most important lawsuit in this whole area against California. So I'm sure he will get into the details, but I'll just give you the headlines, which is that the estimate was that not that long ago, in California, there are about 9 million wrong, errors on the voter rolls. That's way more than people who I need to vote for me to win. It's way more. Now, as a result of things like Michael's lawsuit and Judicial Watch, they did a lawsuit on LA County, which is the biggest county, all these various things that have been happening and pressure being put on, a lot's been cleaned up. The estimate's now down to about 3 million. That's a big reduction. So it's still not perfect, but that's good news. Second really important thing, one of the most unbelievable aspects of this whole insanity around voting is the counting of the votes after Election Day. 7 days after. I've heard stories, they've got, and the argument is, though you have to have the post, as long as it's postmarked by Election Day, it's counted. Sometimes, I've had people tell me that, the absolute first-hand whistleblower accounts, they accept them with handwritten dates. Handwritten dates. So what an opportunity for cheating. You just write the date. They say, oh, how many votes do we need? Okay, here's a few. Write the date on it. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Now, good news. The Supreme Court just agreed to hear a case. There's a case at the Supreme Court right now, out of Mississippi, I think it is, which would ban that nationwide. Election day is Election Day, and that's it. There is a there's a chance that will be handed down and implemented even before June. I think there's still a chance of that, I don't know. Definitely likely to be the law by November. So that's really good news. And so things are moving in the right direction, but in the end with all of this, the president said it best. We have to make it too big to ring. And so I come back to where I started. The answer to all of this is we got to win, and therefore we mustn't be discouraged. We've got to go out there with energy and effort and determination and get every single Republican vote we can.
Thank you. The next one's from Roy. Here in Ramona, many of us are forced to purchase fire insurance through the state-run California FAIR Plan. Yet the same private insurance companies that chose to drop our coverage are now underwriting our California FAIR Plan policy for several thousands of dollars more per year. What will you do to remove the state's control and lower our home insurance costs?
It's a huge issue. I hear it all over the state. It's outrageous. And as most of you, I'm sure, call it, it's not the fair, it's the unfair plan, because you're paying more for less. The fair plan was, well, actually, I'll tell you just before I get into the details, I actually announced my plan on this last Monday in Sacramento outside the Insurance Commissioner's building. And so the thing is that there's two components to this problem. The reason that we're in this mess is that for years, I have to tell you, I really disagree with having an elected insurance commissioner. Because you have an elected insurance commissioner, they're just going to be pandering for votes and messing up actually a very complicated marketplace. Insurance is not a straightforward thing. And so that's what's happened. You've had these Democrats, and they actually said it, I know we all go on about Lara, the current insurance commissioner. The one before really caused the most problems. I think he's called David Jones. And he especially, put all these artificial restrictions on the insurance companies and how they could operate. And there are two really big things, it's going to get a little bit technical, but two really big things that have been the main drivers of all these companies leaving the marketplace. And that's the big point. The way we get out of this situation is just as in any other area of business, you need competition. If you have competition, then the companies are competing with each other to offer you better products for a lower price. If there's a monopoly, they can get away with ripping you off. And so that's the problem. When you drive people out, you get less and less competition. The answer is to have them come back so you have competition. And they'll be competing to offer you a good deal. Now, the reason that they've been driven out is because these two big changes that were made, which made it kind of impossible for them to operate in a reasonable manner, which is not allowing them to price into their rate setting future catastrophic risks. They weren't allowed to take into account things like wildfire risk and whatever. Secondly, there's a technical part of this called reinsurance, which is basically insurance for the insurance companies. They weren't allowed to take that into account either. And so they were just like, we can't make this work. And so they've been leaving. And now what's happening is that finally, after years of not getting it right, those two big things are being addressed, even by the current people, the current guy. So that's getting better. But there's a further set of things that we need to do, and this is what I announced in my plan on Monday. First of all, on the FAIR plan. The FAIR plan was supposed to be for really hard to insure people who just couldn't get coverage for various, very narrow reasons. And the expectation was that you'd have around 100,000 people on the FAIR plan. Now, it's over 600,000 heading to 1 million. It's totally unsustainable. So the first step is we have to actively get people off the FAIR plan and proactively find them coverage. And so that's what we will do. Secondly, there's a real issue with the bureaucracy around the regulation of insurance. So the original establishment of the Insurance Commissioner's Office and this whole process was it Prop 103, long time, nearly 3 decades ago, and one of the things that's in Prop 3 that everyone voted for was a 60-day limit on decisions on rate setting. They completely ignore that. Sometimes it takes over a year. Makes everything slower and more expensive, and that's one of the reasons rates go on. So the second thing we have to do is enforce the 60-day limit for decisions on rates. And then the third thing, which isn't discussed enough, is that one of the things that's driven up costs is all these nuisance lawsuits You've got a lot of lawsuits being filed by, people coming in from out of state, private equity firms, funding all this stuff, really aggressive lawsuits that actually have put a huge financial burden on some of the companies and to fight them and to the payouts and everything. So we've got to fight back against these exploitative nuisance lawsuits, in particular the ones funded by private equity. So that it's all quite detailed when it comes to insurance, but I've done the work, I've looked at the detail, and we can make these changes happen and get back to a more normal market-driven system.
I'm pretty sure we have one more question.
Great, thank you.
No more? No more? Oh, okay. I guess not.
Dan?
Hi, Steve. My name is Dan from Patriots for Freedom. And we have an endorsement for you and Gloria, signed by all of us here as a token of our appreciation for you.
Wonderful. And I didn't even have to fill out a questionnaire. How about that?
We have a gift for you as well.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you very much for that. This means the world to me. I really appreciate it, especially on this very special day, on Palm Sunday. But I want to say one last thing, if I may. I'm not going to go on and on, don't worry. I know we can do this. This is our year. But I can't do this for you. I can only do it with you. I need you on the team. I'm all about the team. I need you on the team. Please, if you want to make this happen, let's do it together. So if you want to, every single one of you here can help make this happen. Every single one of you. Every single one of you can do something practical to help get this revolution going. You can share things on social media and tell your friends and yard signs, all these things. And so one practical thing you can all do today, sign up for our campaign. There's a table at the back there, including some fantastic gear that you can get, which will show everyone what you want to see for the future of our state to make it golden. Again, including this beautiful Stars and Stripes California pin, as seen on TV. We now have them made so you can get your own. They cost $41 because they will help make me the 41st governor of the great state of California. Thank you very much.
Everyone to come out and sign up to help and support to volunteer for Steve. If I may have...
Do a picture. Hang on a second. You want us to go there? Oh, actually, I want to explain this. So I'm really sorry because you've got a lot to get through. And what I normally do at these town halls is say we can take pictures with every single one of you. And I love doing that, but we're just not going to have time to do that today. So the least we can do is take a nice selfie with all of us that Eric here is going to do. And then you can all get a copy of that.
And P4F, be ready to get a group picture with Steve as soon as he's done.
All right. I'm going to go here. That's pretty good. Hang on. Tap the right.
This is a better one. This is better.
Can I get a group picture of people? Everyone, please, quickly. Right here with Steve. Eric?
Yeah.
No. Shorty in front, please. Shorty in front.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, we're all together.
Gotcha. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Take a picture.
I'm sure everyone got a ballot that we sent out, so after you hear Steve speak, if you could vote, and then you're welcome to put it out there in the ballot box that we have up here. But right now, we're gonna continue on. We want, because time is limited, and our next guest, our speaker is gonna be Michael Gate for Attorney General. Michael. There you go again, MIA. Michael Gates. Okay, Susan, can you talk about the voting? Let me run and get Michael, he's in the other room and can't hear us. Cindy, can you come forward, please?
Well, we want to thank you all for coming and are grateful we can share with you all how to vote the most secure ballot. Your vote is your voice, so you want to protect it. The primary election is June 2nd. Very important that we vote in the primary election to move our candidate forward to the general election. The last Republican governor voted in was 16 years ago. The AG was 27 years ago. The most important one, the controller of our funds, was 51 years ago. That's why we're in the mess we're in. And there's no accountability for this controller position. So get out and vote, please. Vote in all the special elections, primary and general from now on. Mark your ballot at home in black ink pen. Go vote in person at the ROV. It's in Kearny Mesa in San Diego County. Or you can go to the local vote center. The ROV is a less processing steps for your ballot, which means your ballot is more secure. When you vote in person, do not surrender your ballot. Do not put your ballot in the envelope. Keep them separate. No ballot marking device or machine. None of this is needed. You are being misled if told otherwise. Keep it simple. Take the ballot, put it in the box. Ballot in the box. Any problems, ask for the supervisor or ask them to call the hotline. You want to protect your vote. Any questions, we can have them later. If you want to ask us, we'll try and help you.
Thank you.
So, yes, thank you. So now we're going to practice the kind of voting process that many people say they want. One day voting, paper ballots, ID verification, and counting that's completed that same day.
That's right.
Each of you have been given a ballot, or if you didn't get one, please raise your hand and we'll get you one. And you'll have an opportunity to cast that ballot in the box or one of these up here. And it's a simple and transparent process, and it's accessible to everyone who wants to participate. So when the voting is done, we're not going to disappear behind closed doors. If you'd like to stay and watch the counting, you're invited to join us in the foyer and observe every step with us.
That's right.
And the best part, we'll have the results of your voting, your voice, momentarily, so stick around. Because confidence doesn't come from being told, it comes from being included. And before you go, be sure to follow us on Instagram to stay connected with upcoming events, announcements, and tips on voting. We'd love to keep you informed and involved. So let's begin. If you have your ballot, please put it in the boxes, and we're going to head out and count those here in just a little bit. Okay? Thank you. Yes.
Yes, Michael Gates is going to be speaking very soon. Amy will bring him up on stage. Okay. And then Herb is also. Michael is planned for next.
Yeah.
Come on up, Amy. Amy? Yeah, Michael. Here's Michael Gates.
Yeah.
Michael Gates.
Thank you, everybody. They had me in a holding room back there, but I wasn't sure when I was supposed to come out. I guess I came a little late because people already started to leave. So, so thank you for staying. I really appreciate it. My name is Michael Gates. I am from Huntington Beach, California. Yes, Huntington Beach is a great place, great city. Just to give you a quick introduction, I have been married for almost 30 years. I have 5 children and 4 grandchildren. So we have a good, healthy, happy family here in Southern California. And it's been great. I've been a lifelong resident of Huntington Beach. And when I got into the practice of law, I went into private practice, and that's where I cut my teeth as a trial attorney, defending the Orange County Sheriff's Department deputies when they were sued for doing their job. Yes. Yeah. And that is worthy of some praise because most cities or jurisdictions simply settle those cases. And the cops get sued, they just settle them, which is a waste of taxpayer money. It's the lazy way out, and you're basically sending the wrong signal to your law enforcement. Because most of those cases, the cops did the right thing. They did a good job. So I had to take a trial approach with all of my cop cases. And so I became partner at that law firm, and then I ran for city attorney in 2014. Huntington Beach elects their city attorney. There are only 10 cities in the entire state of California out of 482 cities that elect their city attorney. I know. Having said that, about 70% of voters in California vote for their city attorney because it's the larger cities with higher populations that elect their city attorney. So LA, San Diego, San Francisco, Sacramento, Long Beach. So a lot of the population elects the city attorney. Anyway, I was elected in 2014, re-elected in 2018, re-elected in 2022, and then in 2025, I got picked up by the Trump administration. So I went back to Washington, D.C. and worked at the Department of Justice.
That's good.
And it was an opportunity I couldn't pass up. It was the Deputy Assistant Attorney General position with the United States Department of Justice. It's the highest level you can serve at the DOJ without being Senate confirmed. So it's a very, very high level position. I was right there at 950 Pennsylvania Avenue, working on the 5th floor with Pam Bondi. Her office was right down the hall from mine. Leo Terrell's office was 2 doors down from mine. I met Charlie Kirk at the DOJ when he stopped by to visit. I worked with Todd Blanche, Emil Bobe, Stephen Miller, all the folks that you see on TV, I worked with them all. So,
good.
Yes, good stuff. Really great experience. Yeah, it was very exciting in a lot of ways. But it was also in DC, 2,500 miles away from my family. I had to leave my family here in Huntington Beach. So the wife, the kids, and the grandkids. And I can tell you, I was only able to get back to Huntington Beach once a month to see my family. I know it's wild. But that's just all I had time for. And frankly, the resources for, because I took a massive pay cut to work for the DOJ. And I will also tell you that trying to do family time with the grandkids by FaceTime is not very effective. Very, very difficult. So I knew a few months into it that it was probably not going to work. It was pretty unsustainable. That kind of job, that kind of opportunity is not for a family man with a lot of family. So I decided to come home, and then the government shutdown occurred, and we were sent home. So I was working for the DOJ from my home in Huntington Beach in October and part of November. And at that point, I told my wife, you're never going to get me back on an airplane to go back to DC. I had resolved, I had made up my mind to resign and come home and really take up the fight for California again. And I say again,
Thank you.
Thank you. I say again, because if you don't know what I've done for Huntington Beach, I'll get into that in a second, but when I wrote to Pam Bondi about my departure from the DOJ, I said I needed to go back to Huntington Beach to fight for California. So I'm happy to be back, happy to be in this race. I'm very, very proud and happy to be running for Attorney General. When I was the City Attorney of Huntington Beach, we did a lot of great work. I led the charge on a lot of important battles. So if you've heard of these battles, that was me leading the charge. I will take credit because, there's not a lot of strength and leadership in city leadership among city councils, right? They're there's a little bit of a herd mentality, they're risk averse, but I was out there as the elected city attorney leading the charge on so many things. So just to give you an idea, I was the architect of Huntington Beach's voter ID law. So the voter ID law that you've heard about, I drafted that law. I even campaigned for that law when I was out on the campaign trail asking voters to vote for it to change our charter to adopt that law, which they did. I was the architect of Huntington Beach's declaration that it is a non-sanctuary city. I was the architect of Huntington Beach's declaration that it's a parent's right to know city.
That's right. That's good.
I was the architect of Huntington Beach's ban on mask and vaccine mandates.
Yes.
I sued the state of California over AB 1955, which is that law in 2024 that mandated that teachers keep secrets from parents with regard to their children's gender identity and transition. I sued the state of California when Governor Newsom came down to Huntington Beach and shut down our beaches with armed state troopers, bulldozers, and concrete barricades, not to keep criminals off of our 8 miles of beautiful coastline, our beaches, but to keep law-abiding, tax-paying citizens off of our beaches. So I sued him, and a few days later, he opened up our beaches. In 2017, I started the city's first ever city-level criminal prosecutor program, and that's really important. So in the city attorney's office, in 2017, I started the city's first criminal prosecutor program at the city level. And I'll tell you that's why that's important. This program was in response to the passage of Prop 4757 and AB 109 a few years earlier, which is where we all saw crime increase throughout the state of California, because those made a bunch of felonies, misdemeanors, and then the prosecutors wouldn't prosecute those crimes. So it basically created criminals by the passage of those. So in response, most cities would just say, well, there's nothing we can do, the laws are now different, we can't really prosecute as effectively as we used to, so we'll just manage this crisis. Well, that wasn't enough for me in Huntington Beach. I wanted to do a whole lot more, so I worked with our district attorney, then Tony Rakakis, and I said, I want to create a city-level criminal prosecutor program. Now, Orange County has 34 cities in the county. Huntington Beach's new criminal prosecutor program in 2017 was only the second of its kind in the entire county. All other crimes were referred to the district attorney for prosecution. We now, as of 2017, had a city-level criminal prosecutor, which added a second layer of prosecution to crimes that occurred in Huntington Beach. Yes, thank you. So what's the effect? The effect is within the first year, crime dropped by 12%, and it's dropped ever since. As of today, ladies and gentlemen, Huntington Beach is in the top 10 safest cities in the state of California out of 482 cities.
That's good.
And through enforcement as well, we also reduced homelessness by over 60% in Huntington Beach. And we didn't just push our homeless to the neighboring city. We scooped them up off the street, we got them into services, and in many cases, we got them back home where they came from originally. So we have done a lot of great work in Huntington Beach. We consider ourselves the land of the free and home of the brave in crazy California. And what's going on there? We just fight for everyday Californians. We fight for everyday Californians. I fought the high-density housing mandates coming out of Sacramento too. For years, I fought the high-density housing mandates. And as of today, Huntington Beach still does not have a high-density housing program. Fighting for everyday Californians is sort of what we do in Huntington Beach. And we truly are a wonderful city where people now want to go there to live there because they know how great it is. It's not because it's red necessarily, although we are a conservative city. It's that we decided to fight. I decided long ago to fight for my city, to fight crime, and to fight for my cops. It was so important for me to stay practicing as an attorney when I was the elected city attorney that I continued to take cases to trial. I didn't just treat it as an elected position, but I stayed functioning as a lawyer and would take cases to trial. I specialized in taking my cop cases to trial because I didn't want to settle those cases. I wanted to show my city council and the community that I meant what I said when I was defending our cops, and that I wanted to defend our cops. So I'd take those cases to trial, yeah. Any law enforcement in here, by the way? Thank you for your service. So I've done many, many cop cases. I've argued them at the Ninth Circuit, qualified immunity cases, Court of Appeal, Federal District Court, State Court, the whole 9 yards. Just one example of many examples I could give you. The #1 plaintiff attorney in the state of California came to Huntington Beach and sued the city and 2 of our cops for an officer-involved shooting case. It was a good shooting. The cops saved the life of a woman and her child. So it was a really good shooting, justified and clean, no collateral damage. Notwithstanding, we were sued by the #1 plaintiff attorney in the state of California for $20 million. And that's a case, ladies and gentlemen, that I said there's 482 cities in the state of California. All 481 other cities would have settled that case for millions of dollars, I promise you. They wanted $20 million and not a penny less. And I said, that's fine, I'll see you in court. So we went to trial. After a 5-week jury trial, I got a complete defense verdict, totally exonerating our cops and not owing a penny.
Great.
And all of the things I'm telling you, you can look up on the internet. These things were written up in the newspapers, so it's all out there. I also sued the state of California when it wrongfully withheld, I know this is hard to believe, but it wrongfully withheld taxpayer money from Huntington Beach, basically tax reimbursements from our taxpayers. So I sued then, it was actually then Governor Brown, then Newsom, because it went on for years. We won, we got a judgment in our favor, and I recovered $38 million from the state of California. So anytime Newsom's writing checks to Huntington Beach, it's a good day at the office. When the bottom line is this, ladies and gentlemen, 2 things. When you fight, you win. If you don't fight, you never win.
That's right.
And a lot of candidates in Huntington Beach for city council and other offices, and a lot of city council members have asked me, hey Gates, how are you so popular? How are you so successful? Because my approval rating in Huntington Beach, by the way, it's the 23rd largest city in the state of California out of 482 cities. It's got 200,000 residents, it's 27 square miles, 8 miles of coastline. It's a pretty big city. And my approval rating was always over 75%. And council members, council candidates, whoever was running for office, whoever was in politics, would always say, why are you so popular? And I say, because it's really simple. I fight for the folks. I just fight for people. That's it. I fight for my community.
Yep.
And then they say, but what if you lose? They literally, because politicians, there's always this risk assessment, the cost benefit, if I fight, I could lose, And I said, look, the community just wants you to fight for them, period. The wins and losses will count themselves, right? But as long as you go and you're dedicated and you're committed to fighting for the folks, you will have their support. And that bore out. 10 years as city attorney, my community, loves me. They were so sad when I went back to DC, and now it's bittersweet. They're glad I'm back, but they're sad I'm running for AG. They want me actually back as city attorney. So The other reason I say all this is to just let you know how equipped I am, I think, to be running for Attorney General. I'm a real trial attorney. I'm actually a real lawyer. Not a lot of people that would stand up before you and say, I'm a lawyer, I'm running for office. You know, if you peek behind the curtain, you see that there's really not much there. But I have done many, many multi-million-dollar trials myself in court. I've argued, like I said, at the Ninth Circuit. I'm actually a member. I forget to say this on the campaign trail, but I have a little bit more time today, so I'm going to add it. I'm actually a member of the U.S. Supreme Court Bar. I could go to the U.S. Supreme Court and argue. Yeah, which is, yeah, most lawyers are not. So I'm actually a real lawyer, and I've done a lot of real work. Yeah, I've done a lot of real work. I've done election integrity work. When I was back at the Department of Justice, I was the one that sued California for violating federal elections laws.
That's good.
I know, yes, I get around a lot, yeah. I sued Orange County, California for federal elections violations. So I've done elections law, I've done parental rights, I've fought state overreach, I've done CEQA, environmental law, I've done land use and housing, I've done police work, police cop cases. I haven't been a cop myself, but I've defended them in court. I've reduced crime, I've reduced homelessness, I've done so many different things that our Attorney General should be doing and should be qualified to do. And heretofore, our Attorney General is not. Normally, Attorney General candidates would stand before you and they're just career criminal prosecutors, like Steve Cooley, which I like Steve, and if you're a career criminal prosecutor and you're good, then that's fine, that's good, but that's still one track, that's a single track, right? I've done crime fighting, reducing homeless, like I said, CEQA, environmental, housing, elections, protecting parental rights. I've done religious freedom cases. I actually argued in federal court for the DOJ on a case where the state of Washington was trying to mandate through state law that Catholic priests be mandatory reporters to the state out of the confessional. And so I went up and argued that case and we prevailed. So I've done religious freedom cases, I've done First Amendment, other First Amendment cases. Yeah, so I just feel this time right now is the perfect time. Steve Hilton may have touched on it. I couldn't hear him. I saw him on the screen when I was in the holding room back there. But California is right now, I think. The time is right to take it back.
That's right.
And honestly, that's why I'm in this race. I want to be the AG because I want to fight for California. I don't need this job. I don't need this job. In fact, before I made my final decision to get into this race, I had been talking to my wife a lot, my kids, and praying a lot. And I was actually this close to just retiring early. You know, saying, I had a really good career. I did well for Huntington Beach. I capped it off with my work in DC. I could retire early. But after, like I said, many conversations and a whole lot of prayer, I was like, you know what, I still have some more fight in me.
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And my wife says it's because I'm Irish. But there's something to the fighting Irish, I guess. Are you gonna step in here?
I'm trying to.
Okay. Do you want me to wrap it up?
Yeah, this one went, we have Q&A.
Okay. Let me wrap up with just one more statement, if I may. So I think I'm perfectly situated to be running for this office. When I am AG on day one, we are going to be Title IX compliant throughout the state of California. On day one, all of the sheriffs in the state of California are going to be on notice from me that if they don't issue CCWs within 90 days, they're going to be in violation of Second Amendment. I am going to dismiss the lawsuits that Rob Bonta, the current Attorney General, just filed against hospitals, including a children's hospital, forcing them to perform trans surgeries on minors. And if doctors or hospitals continue to mutilate children, I will prosecute them.
That's right.
We are going to reduce crime by double digits like we did in Huntington Beach. We're going to reduce homelessness like we did in Huntington Beach. These are all things on day one that I can do. I don't need the legislature's approval. I don't even particularly need the governor's approval, although I know with Steve Hilton there, he's going to support the work that I do. All of this is these are the things that I have the constitutional authority to do in my office on day one. So when you put me in office as Attorney General, I am going to get to work on day one. I I'm going to go after the waste, fraud, and abuse with Herb Morgan. We're going to put people behind bars. We're going to claw back that money and send it back to you, the taxpayer. All right, now I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Now that he answered all the questions that I had.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, let's forget everything I said. Let's start over.
Okay, the first question is, what would you do to finally eliminate unconstitutional sanctuary city policies?
Okay, I love this question, and everybody says, like they hold their breath, like, what's he gonna say? That one's controversial. Okay, it's not for me. It's really simple. Why? Because when I'm Attorney General, we're gonna return to the rule of law, which means we're going to comply with all federal laws. I mentioned Title IX and I mentioned the Second Amendment. We're going to comply with all federal laws and enforce all state laws. What does that mean? It means a peaceful enforcement, a harmonious enforcement of all laws, including immigration enforcement. And people come up and ask me, well, what does that mean? Does it mean you're going to deport illegal aliens? And I say, no, I don't, because I'm a state official. The federal government will, just like they have for decades. Like, that is their job.
Yes.
What the state will not be doing, on my watch, is interfering with the feds who are attempting to enforce federal law. So for me, it's really simple. The state is violating federal law. It's actively violating federal law.
Yes, that's right.
We will not violate federal law. We're going to have a peaceful, harmonious enforcement of all laws. When I say harmonious, I mean the feds and the state work together on this stuff. And people don't know this, but do you know that, not Huntington Beach, the state of California's sanctuary policies, do you know that's brand new? 2017. Didn't exist before 2017. I know this because in 2018, I sued the state of California over its sanctuary policies. It's brand new, and do you know what happened before 2017? Let's take Obama administration, for example.
Yeah.
He deported 8 million or over 8 million illegal aliens. You know, tens of thousands of those were violent criminals subject to ICE detainers.
Yep.
Do you know how his federal immigration authorities apprehended those individuals? They went to the jails. They got off of an airplane, walked into a jail, slapped cuffs on them, pulled him out of the jail, got back on an airplane, and sent him out of the country. It was the peaceful enforcement of all laws.
Yep.
We're going to get back to the peaceful enforcement of all laws. The sanctuary policies, ladies and gentlemen, literally, the biggest thing that it did was it took the peaceful transfer of these violent criminals subject to ICE detainers, the peaceful transfer to the federal authorities, it took it out of the jails and put it into the streets. So it used to happen in jails under the peaceful, highly controlled environment where local authorities were controlling the situation and handing these immigrants, these violent criminals over to federal authorities. It was peaceful. Now it's not peaceful because we have the state fighting the feds. That's not going to happen. We have to respect and honor federal law, period.
That's
Until
right.
it changes,
Yep.
we have to follow federal law.
Okay, next question. Will you allow our great law enforcement the autonomy to disperse unruly and violent crowds, protect authority, and not stand idle, show submission, or kneel for any of these political movements?
You must have gotten a list of my favorite questions. That's probably my
It's
second
everybody
favorite
else.
question.
It's everybody else that did this.
Okay, good. Well, I love this question. I've answered it before. So here's how this goes. First Amendment. Here's what the First Amendment provides for. You stand on the sidewalk with a sign. That's it. You stand on the sidewalk with a sign. Once you start flooding the street and shutting down freeways, those are crimes.
That's right.
They're gonna, once you step in the street and block a car, or you try to shut down a freeway, you're going to jail.
Yes.
That's right.
And if anybody wonders, like, how is this guy gonna do that when he's up in Sacramento in some ivory tower? Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. As the Attorney General, this is in the California Constitution, you can look it up. Article 5, Section 13. Article 5, Section 13. The Attorney General has supervision, has purview over all 58 counties, law enforcement officials. So I have purview over all the district attorneys and sheriffs. So when I say I'm going to send notice to the sheriffs about what we're going to do with CCWs, that's because I have the authority to, and they have to. When this type of stuff happens, I'm going to send notices to all the sheriffs and all the district attorneys that not only are we going to arrest those individuals, we're going to prosecute them for committing the crime. First Amendment means stand on the sidewalk with a sign. It does not mean take over freeways with a mob.
That's
So
right.
That's a crime.
If you are the only Republican who is elected from the golden ticket, how will you effectively fight the entrenched bureaucracy and elected officials in the state who will undermine you in every way they can?
Well, that's on my list of favorite questions too. All I can say is this: I'm battle tested. This is not my first rodeo. I should probably add this to my list of credentials. When I was city attorney, when I was elected as city attorney, I had to deal with entrenched staff who didn't want me there. On my first day at the office, I walked up and the plaque in front of my office had been ripped down. There was undermining and sabotage for years, and I dealt with it. And we still made headlines doing the right thing for the folks in Huntington Beach and fighting back California, even in spite of staff that was trying to work against me. Did that for 10 years. Then I went to DC. Those are all Biden holdover attorneys. Biden era holdover attorneys. So I dealt with it there too. And I was effective in still enforcing federal elections law and fighting crime across the nation with those teams too. When I'm Attorney General, I already mentioned I have a bunch of independent authority. The Attorney General in the state of California is actually considered the most powerful Attorney General in the nation. Not because we're one of the bigger states, that's not the point. It's one of the most powerful because the folks in California, through the California Constitution, reserved a ton of independent authority for the Attorney General. So I can do a lot with regard to crime fighting and writing opinions and coming into compliance with federal law, whether it's Title IX, Second Amendment, so on and so forth, sanctuary policies. I can do a lot on my own. The legislature can't do anything to stop me. And honestly, frankly, the governor couldn't either. So I know I have a high level of confidence that Steve Hilton's going to get elected. But if, for whatever reason, the entire ticket, yeah, Herb Morgan too, and Gloria Romero. So I have a high level of confidence that that's going to happen. But the question says, what if not? Okay, so I'll answer what if not. If not, if I have a Katie Porter or somebody, I can still do my job, folks. I can still do my job. And then people say, well, you're the attorney for the governor. The governor can just tell you what to do. That's not true at all. Nope. If anybody ever says, why is the attorney general important? They're just a lawyer for the governor. Strike that down. Like, that is completely not the truth. That is just categorically false. There is a whole host of independent authority that I have that the people have given me or have given the attorney general in the state of California, and I plan to exercise it. When I go to Sacramento, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to continue fighting for the folks. I'm not going to cave to pressures. I'm going to continue fighting for the folks. I want to return California back to everyday Californians. And one thing that's true, you can take this to the bank. I am not there to make friends. I don't give a bleep about my political future. I don't care. I could happily retire tomorrow with my wife and kids and live happily ever after. I don't care. So I'm going to go to Sacramento and I'm going to do what's right by the people. We're going to return to a rule of law state. We're going to have law and order in this state.
Right. Thank you.
Period. And I'm going to make enemies in the process, and I don't care. I don't care. So I can't wait to get there and fight for the folks.
That's right. Thank you.
Over the decades, we have sent many good people to state and federal elected positions. We've been very disappointed that their core beliefs changed over time and they seem to have become corrupted or ineffective. What is your plan to keep yourself accountable and focused on the vision and mission you have pre-election?
So, God is watching.
That's right.
And I've prayed about this, and He wants me here fighting this fight. And He's going to keep me accountable. But I have when it comes to stuff like this, look, I may be tempted when it comes to, what's on the menu. I don't get tempted by stuff like this. I don't get pressured. I can't get swayed. If you talk to anybody who knows me, my constitution is very strong because I don't give a damn. Like, I know what's right. I have fought through. Look, let me back up. Since 2014, when I first got into politics, the left has hated me because I was always doing the right thing. I have been under investigation. I have been falsely accused. Everything you can imagine has been thrown at me, and I stayed the course. I never caved to pressure. I never stooped. I maintained the high road. I knew God was with me. I was doing his work. I was doing his will. And I was doing the right thing by the people. And that's just my compass. And so I'm going to go to Sacramento and continue to do the same thing. I can't see in any universe how I would be compromised. I'm going to stay the course and fight for the folks.
Will you seek advice from the Trump administration how to effectively navigate in your new position in a politically hostile environment?
So I've never had that question before.
That was from Janine, one of our members.
This is a first. Advice from the Trump administration. So I think when it comes to political savvy, I think Trump's far more savvy than we give him credit for, because some of the things that the media makes out to be reckless, even this, war, people say, oh, in the midterms we're doomed. How could he go to war and launch this, assault on Iran? Now we're going to lose the midterms. And I'm like, no, hold my beer here, or hold his beer. Like, he knows. And the reason he did the tariffs when he did the tariffs is because he knew it would take a year for the economy to figure it out and grow and gain strength. He knew it would take a year. There's a little critter up here joining me on stage. He knew it would take a year. So he needed it to happen last year so that we would have a year and so that the economy would be stronger going into the midterms. He knew that with this whole Iran thing, he needed it to happen here in the winter because it needs to resolve and it needs to be in the rearview mirror, and he's hoping, or he's planning on, we will see the fruits of it by the time the midterms come. And so he knows what he's doing when it comes to politics. But when it comes to the Attorney General position, a lot of it has to do with returning to the rule of law enforcement, law and order. And so I know what I need to do. I've already done it as city attorney. So will people weigh in with their opinion about what should be done? Absolutely. Am I going to listen? Of course. I listen to everybody. I even listen to my kids sometimes. So I'll listen to everybody, but I know what I need to do to get California back. I've done it before. Yeah, this is not an experiment for me. Yeah.
Okay, now this first question, the words is if, but I'm changing it.
Okay.
When you are elected,
Yes.
will you have the power to fire incompetent or corrupt employees?
100%. And one of the lessons I learned especially when I was at the city attorney, that was new to me, dealing with civil service protected entrenched workers, and that was new to me. So I actually worked with the HR director at the city and the finance director and the city manager and worked through all of these issues with some of the employees, many of whom were quite literally trying to sabotage me. Like, they were literally trying to sabotage the work so that I would get caught or tripped up or lose or whatever, make a bad headline. And I actually, with kid gloves at the time, tried to gently navigate that stuff. And now, no, I paid a big price for that. Because you know why? At the end of the day, it didn't resolve in a happy way. They ended up suing me anyway. So I am going to, I'm going to be tough and roll with an iron fist. And folks have got to go. If they don't want to get on board with a new direction, then they're out. And you know, honestly, the whole department needs to be restructured. It's got 1,200 lawyers working for it right now, and 200 of them are working on the Trump lawsuits, suing the Trump administration. 200 of them. That's $40 million a year of your taxpayer money going to lawyers with the California Department of Justice suing the Trump administration. So when I put in my priorities for the California Department of Justice, and we're enforcing the laws that I want enforced, like Prop 36, like tough on crime, like every prosecutor in the state of California better have a "we need crimes to get to zero" agenda. You know, because heretofore we have just had this like, well, we just need to absorb a certain amount of crime. You know, California is in the top 6 high crime states. Out of 50 states, California is top 6 of high crime states. And Bonta's focused on Trump. So my priorities, my enforcement, my team. So my team better get on board or they're out.
That's right. It has been 27 years since a Republican has served here in office as the Attorney General. What can we look forward to seeing you investigate or work toward accomplishing? You pretty much said.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say see above on that one.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
There might be another good question. I think I've already addressed that.
I think you have too. Okay, if it's okay, last question.
Yeah.
Do you have a plan to make changes in your position that will last after your term is over?
Yeah, so I'm not afraid to go on record as saying this. This is amazing. Put me in office now so we can change California forever. Here's how it's gonna work. Here's how it's gonna work. So Newsom, in his infinite wisdom, moved all of the sheriff's elections, so the sheriffs are elected. So all 58 sheriff elections are now on the, by governor fiat, so to speak. He moved all of those elections to the presidential cycle. He moved all of the district attorney elections to the presidential cycle. So now the sheriffs and the DAs are all on the presidential cycle. Why did he do that? Because he wanted the emotional Democrats who usually show up in the presidential cycle to be voting for district attorney and sheriff candidates for office. And he wanted this George Soros money to go further in getting those candidates elected. So that was a political move by design. So in Orange County, our district attorney, he would normally be up for re-election in this cycle, but now it got moved to 2028. Okay, so bear with me here. So now they're all in the presidential cycle, but my election is still in the gubernatorial cycle. So when I'm elected and all of those seats are open or up for election 2 years later, I can go out and help the candidates I want, who are tough on crime and will uphold and defend the rule of law. I can support those district attorney candidates and sheriff candidates. And when we start to get stronger DAs and stronger sheriffs, stronger meaning tough on crime, want to return to the rule of law and order type of candidates, and we do that cycle after cycle as long as I'm in office, we could change California as a, like culturally, in terms of law and order, we could change California forever. So I'm gonna use that feature when I'm in office to my advantage. Now, if Bonta's watching and he gets reelected, he'll use it to his advantage because he'll support the candidates that are, but heretofore the AG hasn't normally gone out and pushed for certain candidates because their races were in his cycle. Does that make sense? So they were in his cycle. He had to focus on his own race and get himself reelected. He couldn't focus on other candidates. So I'm looking forward, when I'm AG, I'm gonna look forward to 2028 in the middle of my cycle when I can go out and work with candidates who really commit to being tough on crime and willing to roll up their sleeves and do the work to enforce the law up and down the state of California. And I can assure you this too, we will never have another Gascon or Boudin again. We will never, because here's why, and the reason that we even had those DAs in the first place, who by the way got thrown out of office in deep blue counties. So Democrats threw Democrats out of office. Let's be plain about that. But if we ever have DAs like that who are soft on crime again, I can enforce or insist that they start being tough on crime. And if they're not, ladies and gentlemen, I also have the constitutional authority to reach down and start prosecuting those cases myself if they won't.
That's good. That's good.
So, it kind of brings a whole new meaning to the world. There's a new sheriff in town. Yeah, there's a hand back there.
Yes, well, we have time for one major question, and her in the back.
Why has George Soros never been labeled an enemy of the state?
Well, when it comes to, and this goes for probably a lot of other people you could think of, who maybe should be facing the consequences for their action or inaction. All I can say is that there's a ton of politics. When I am in office, though, I will assure you that I'm going to ensure that whoever has committed a crime is going to be met with justice. And the justice that I'm talking about is not lengthy and protracted investigations that go to nowhere, like bullet trains in California. I'm talking about swift, diligent justice where people end up behind bars, and justice is actually served. So I will just say this as a general statement. I don't care if they were in elected office or if they're the average Joe on the street. Nobody's going to get special treatment. We are going to make sure that those who commit crime get met with justice. That justice will be served. Period.
Thank you. Thank you for
And vote for Herb Morgan, too. I know he's in the audience.
I want to say something. I'm really sorry earlier that we were trying to secure Mike and Herb Morgan in the room, and they were locked in there. They couldn't get out.
Oh, really?
They heard we call out to Michael. Yeah, we're just overprotecting them. So I apologize to you and to Herb Morgan as well. So we have something that we just want to let you know that Patriots for Freedom San Diego and the Vietnamese community that escaped communism came here legally, and we want to endorse you. Thank you so much. People, can we have a group picture with Michael, please, quickly? We have no time. Move quickly, please.
Jan?
My favorite Filipino. How are you?
And also, Michael could use all the help and volunteer that we could, and we're gonna get him elected. Thank you.
All right. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Herb Morgan, I'm so sorry. Our next speaker is very important just as much. We need to get Herb Morgan to come up here, please. We will be numbered.
Hi, Amy. Hi. Thank you. Yes, we were locked in the back room, and we nobody came to get us. We didn't know what was going on, but Mary Grace sent me a text and said, they're calling your names. You're supposed to be here. So we broke out. I broke out of jail with the next Attorney General. How great was that? We escaped through the window. We didn't go through the window. So I'm Herb Morgan. Oh, you have my sign. Thank you so much.
Herb Morgan,
I am the Republican candidate for California State Controller. State Controller, thanks. State Controller is one of those jobs not everybody knows what it is. So let's just start there. The State Controller is the constitutional officer who is the chief fiscal and financial officer of the state. But since the state is doing such a good job financially, it's really not important this time around, right? The State Controller is endowed with unlimited audit authority over any entity that touches state money. In fact, the State Controller is the only individual in state government who has unlimited access to the books and records. Imagine this, Senator Brian Jones from Santee, just down the road. Senator Jones calls up the High-Speed Rail Authority and says, I want to take a look at the books. I want to see how we're doing. Do you realize the High-Speed Rail Authority could just say no? In fact, they do. Carl DeMille from Rancho Bernardo, same thing. He calls up, he wants to see the books. They say no. They legally can say no to the governor. There's only one person they can't say no to. And we have this really big budget. Anybody know how big our state budget is this year? Too big? I heard too big. It's $325 billion. That's up from $185 billion 6 years ago. So we've taken our budget in 6 years from $185 billion to $325 billion. The good news is all the services have gotten better. Let me ask you, can you think of one thing that's gotten better in 6 years? We've nearly doubled the budget.
No.
Can you think of anything that's even as good as it was 6 years ago?
Yeah.
Homeless services, education.
Oh gosh, no.
How much money is $325 billion? Anybody have $325 billion in the room? If so, I'd like to meet with you later. Well, if a dollar were 1 second, 325 billion seconds would be 10,700 years. Think about that. The point is this: the richest country in the world, the richest state within the richest country in the world, the highest tax rates, and the largest amount of tax revenue. There is no program of compassion we can't fully fund and deliver at the very highest levels of efficiency. But we don't. Who said that? That was so good. You need to follow me around and do that every time, okay? Every time, right on cue. That was so perfectly timed. And that is the basis for my campaign. So who the heck am I? And then we're going to get into this, and there's a solution, and it's really easy. So I'm Herb Morgan. I grew up in Oceanside, so not far from here. Yeah? Anybody from Oceanside people? 1984, graduate from El Camino High School. I've been married for 34 years. We have 2 adult children. They're both recently married, so we're hoping to be grandparents in the next couple of years. I spent my entire career, this is crazy, that the state controller should come from finance. Right? What an idea, what a concept. What a concept that we vote for people who have, can you imagine if Michael Gates was not an attorney? How about if Michael Gates was an economist? Would he be a good attorney general? No. I don't think he would. But he's an actual attorney who's actually put criminals in jail. Speaking of putting criminals in jail, Ed Musgrove is here, who I fully support for state senate.
I'm not going to jail.
He's not going to jail. And so, the current state controller, anybody know who it is? She must be doing a great job, huh? She was an administrative assistant for Mayor Newsom in San Francisco. She then made it onto the County Board of Supervisors in San Francisco. From there, she went onto the State Board of Equalization, appointed by Governor Newsom, then ran for and was elected state controller. The single most important job in state government is the state controller, because you have total plenary authority over the finances. No financial background whatsoever. None. Zero. What is the one major job of the state controller? Anybody know?
Audit.
Audit? Even before then,
Keep the checkbook.
make sure the money flows.
Yep.
Her job is to deliver the annual financial report of the state of California. The fiscal year ends June 30th. The financial report, the audited financial report of the state of California, is due March 31st. We're 2 days out. In her first year in office, she was 22 months late. In her second year in office, I might have the exact number of months wrong. She did better. She was like 16 months late. In her third year in office, she broke into single digits. She was 9 months late. She delivered it last September. Does anybody think she's going to deliver the financial report, which is federally required, on Tuesday?
No.
She will not do it. She doesn't know finance. She doesn't know accounting. She's never sat on an audit committee. But she was elected. She was elected by the unions. Selected and appointed and coronated by the labor unions. That's what's wrong. The second most important function of the state controller, it's actually in the title, control. Financial controls. By the way, I don't know if you all know this, but I'm the DEI candidate. I want you to be all aware that I'm the DEI candidate. My job is to detect every irregularity in government spending, okay? And so where was I? That was a good joke. We had the 325. Oh, the number one job is to prevent fraud. It's to manage financial controls. Financial controls from the controller. So we got this kid who's 23 years old. He's got a YouTube channel. He doesn't even live in California. You guys know who this is? This kid, Nick Shirley? Yeah, what a great kid, huh? We were with him 2 nights ago. And I said, didn't you originally, from San Diego? He says, no, my mom was from San Diego. My mother grew up in Escondido. And my wife is from Escondido. So she said, oh, what was her name? I said, well, the name of Crowley's there. He says, I grew up with the Crowleys. And so we became that little moment there with this Nick Shirley kid. So it was really a lot of fun. But the fact that he's doing the state controller's job is an embarrassment. All of the theft and the fraud. Speaking of it, anybody know how much theft, waste, fraud, and abuse we have in California over the last 5 years? Too much. Too much? 300, 200? Well, do you remember about 2 months ago, the President of the United States put out a what do you call it, a truth or a tweet? And he said, there's $250 billion in waste and fraud over the last 5 years in California. We're going to investigate California. Everybody remember that? I'm the one that gave him the number. It was really great. So I put all this big research together, and I go to my friend Steve Hilton, who you all just heard from, and I say, Steve, how come nobody's doing anything about this? It's obvious. It's right here. And I'm very formal. I don't do a YouTube channel. I have like a white paper, like an academic with footnotes and all that kind of stuff like you're supposed to do. And Steve says, Hub, this is I go, it's Herb, Steve. Oh, Hub, this is amazing. This is amazing. And he says, this is amazing. And I said, well, what if we give it to the Attorney General? It's proof. And the Attorney General is this guy named Rob Bonta. All he does, you heard from Michael, he just sues the Trump administration. He doesn't prosecute laws in California. But there's been 4 arrests. All 4 of the arrests that have happened, do you know who prosecuted those crimes for theft of our resources? The U.S. Attorney. So the Trump administration, thankfully, is doing the job of our own state government. They're prosecuting selectively, limited resources. We're supposed to be prosecuting the people that are taking our money. So we sent this thing over to President Trump. The next morning he put out the tweet, State of the Union. He announced the war on fraud has begun. Then he signed the executive order, appointed J.D. Vance. And so this is happening. Bill O'Saley is happening. And so you all are the first to hear it. I made a mistake in my analysis.
There's a lot more.
There's a lot more. So tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., you hear it here first, press release drops. We made a mistake. It's not 250 billion. It's 425 billion. So we did deeper. So we have for those of you that are inclined to want to read this, my 49-page white paper on this topic is on my website. It's at herbmorgan.com. Herbmorgan.com. Go and donate and contribute and be a part of it and all that kind of good stuff. It's really, really, really important stuff. So we've got the president's ear now. We've got the vice president focused on this now. And I also have this crazy idea that when you run for public office, instead of talking about everything that's wrong, if you're going to talk about everything that's wrong, which I kind of just did, you better darn well have a solution. Yeah. Did I mention that I was the LGBTQ candidate as well? We're going to locate government budget theft quickly. I hope you all come to the Republican convention in 2 weeks, because I get the mic for a half an hour. Okay, you gotta come. The state controller is the chairman of the franchise tax board. So we put little coupons underneath everybody's chair here that when I'm elected next year, it's $10,000 off your tax bill. So just turn your chair over and find a coupon under there. But this is, I'm joking, but this is such serious stuff, right? $325 billion budget. Governor Newsom's asked for $350 billion for next year. He'll get more than he asks for. He always does, because it's a supermajority legislature. And we're not getting services. You probably heard, I couldn't hear Steve because we were locked in a soundproof room back then. Michael and I are just sitting looking at each other, but we don't know what's going on. We could see the TV, but we couldn't hear. So we didn't know what, anyway, it was pretty funny. They fed us, so we got food while we were in jail, Calvary jail. And anyway, so you need to come to these things with a solution, okay? So my career, I think we mentioned, like 39 years in finance. I started a company, it was here in San Diego in 2004. I had the really good fortune to get a phone call one day from a man named Howard Lutnick. Howard is now, as you know, President Trump's Secretary of Commerce. He called me up, he said, I love what you're doing, I want to buy your company. And so we sold our company, my wife and I sold our company to Howard Lutnick, and I worked for Howard as Chief Investment Officer for Cantor Fitzgerald for the last 9 years. And I retired last week. Yeah, that's how confident I am that we're going to get this done. I hung up my professional shingle and we're out there on the road. So the solution to the problem is something called, did I mention that I'm the trans candidate? What's wrong with that? My solution is called radical transparency, okay? So right now, government reports what are, in a way, is called consolidated financial reporting. Now, that's exciting to people like me, but I know it never got me a date to the senior prom talking about finance, right? No. It's boring, I get it. But it's so darn important. Radical transparency is this concept that we embrace new technologies that exist and we modernize California's financial systems. Everybody in this room has a credit card and everybody has a cell phone. You go, you have lunch at Chick-fil-A, or you go to Starbucks, or you buy a new dress at Nordstrom. 30 seconds after you do that, what happens? Ding, ding, ding on your cell phone, and that's called a transaction report. What does it cost you to get a transaction report? It costs you nothing. So the technology already exists. It's ubiquitous, and it's nearly cost-free. So the state controller has unlimited authority to mandate the method of financial reporting of entities that take our money. All 58 counties, all 483 cities, every NGO, the Sheriff's Department, Police Department, the universities, school districts, all of the subsidiaries of the state report to the state controller, whose job is to prevent money from being stolen. So how do we do that if we're not looking at the transactions? So what we'll do is we'll set up a system where I say, okay, you've been authorized to receive $108 million. I'm about to send you the wire. Here are the rules. You will report to me every transaction every day, and it will not take any more work or resources on your part. No more work, no more resources. We simply will set up electronic connections between every bank account of every entity in the state and their credit cards for the people traveling around going to the Ritz-Carlton. And every time there's a transaction, it will be written to a database. The database will be online. It will be publicly available for anyone to see every single day. And every single night, while my wife Mary and I are sitting there watching the Golden Girls, or whatever show we're streaming at the moment, artificial intelligence, AI, will analyze that data for me. So no human can analyze the data that is all of the spending in the state of California. But if you don't know and understand what AI is about to do to change our world, AI being artificial intelligence, hold on, because it's going to look like the internet, make the internet look like the junior varsity team. we will be able to see everything, every day, quickly, organized, flagged for waste, flagged for fraud, flagged for abuse. In fact, to prove to you how easy it is, if you go to my website, which is herb.com, thank you, and follow me at herb4, the number 4 controller. But on my website, I built a prototype for $500 and a bottle of tequila. The kid that coded it for me really liked tequila. So it's $500 plus a bottle of tequila. It reads every transaction from my bank account, my campaign. Everybody who contributes, we publish it right away. We don't wait till the quarter end filings. Every dime we spend flying up and down the state and traveling, every dinner my campaign team has to go to, disclosed on my website. First campaign in U.S. history to ever do that. This is proof of concept. The state product will be much bigger. So we've got a problem. $325 billion. We've got people going to jail for stealing. We're dead 50th in economic mobility and opportunity. We have a solution. I'm the trans candidate. We're going to put every transaction online. We're going to have it be transparent to everybody who looks at it. And we're going to completely transform financial reporting in the state of California.
Yes.
Okay? Question time.
Well, I'm going to have to modify some of these because you already covered them.
Oh, good.
So the California Fair Plan provides homeowners with fire insurance controlled by the state. Due to the enormous premiums collected, I believe it has been designed as another slush fund for our money. Will you audit the California Fair Plan?
Yes. Okay, so longer answer? You want a longer answer? Okay, longer answer. I was being a little sarcastic. So let's talk about why we even have a California Fair Plan. Think about this. 4th largest economy in the world, incredibly valuable real estate. If my home doubles in value, I expect my insurance to double. That's okay, right? Because you're insuring the replacement cost. That's fine. Why is it that insurance companies don't want to do business here? Why are they voluntarily, this is the business they are in, and we're the biggest market in the country. They're pulling up their portfolio and they're walking and saying, I want to insure homes in Nevada instead.
Rules
Why?
and regulations.
Rules and regulations. They're doing it because they're losing money. Businesses will adapt to rules. They'll adapt to anything to survive if they're making money. But the insurance companies aren't making money. Why? Loss experience. If homes are burning down constantly, and they have to write a check, and it's more than the premiums we all collectively paid, why would they try to be here? So they're voluntarily leaving. That is the plan of the party behind the Fair Plan. They want socialized homeowners insurance. That is the real reason they're going with this fair plan. Say, well, this and that. All you have to do is manage your forests, let the loggers in Redding cut logs and earn a living. They will do it for you. And then guess what? Then when you don't have as many fires, the losses go way down, and then your premiums go way down. And the insurance companies will come back. So you bet I will audit it. Yes.
Excellent. The controller has broad audit authority, which you addressed. Will you audit our sanctuary cities to find out how much of our earned income is spent on healthcare, education, housing, and food for those living here illegally, and publish your findings?
Yes. Next question. Okay, so we're going to elaborate again. These are great questions. So first off, also top secret, we are going down to the border to do a special show, video, soon, where we're talking and we're showing how the people come. We're going to be showing the various passports from countries all over the world because they're entering very close to here. And then we're going to go right into the economic impact and why and what's happening and what's going on. What is the economic impact to us? So the state controller has unlimited audit authority over every county, over every city. We went through all that. I was at an event just a couple of weeks ago, one of the caucus meetings. It happened to be San Diego County. And there was 2 mayors there. And I said, as a state controller, I'm going to require you to have this daily transaction, or I'm going to withhold the funding. And they're both Republican mayors, so I said, that's great, fine by us, right? I said, let me ask you, have you ever been audited by the state controller? No. Have you ever been contacted by the state controller's office? No. So most of the theft and fraud the arrests have been made so far have been in NGOs or the hospice and so forth. The NGOs that get the money, where the guy flew on the jet and bought the $7 million house and all that, we don't even audit the NGOs. I said, well, I talked to some good NGOs, people that are in it out of their passion to serve humanity, so they have a nonprofit. That's great. And I asked the woman that runs one down in San Diego, and I said, have you ever been audited? No. I said, how difficult is it to comply? I mean, you're taking county money, which is state money. How difficult is it for you to meet those compliance requirements? She said, I get an email once a year, and I reply that I attest that I spent the money properly. That's the problem. We're good at handing money out. We're not good about measuring results. So when I come in, we're going to measure the results, and that includes the sanctuary cities.
So it's nice that you're a nice person and you say these nice things, but
You're nice too.
High-speed rail project, they've requested an audit, they've requested receipts, they've been told no, there's millions of dollars being spent. How will you be able to change that when you ask for things and say you don't have cooperation? What can you effectively do?
Well, I will have cooperation because they cannot legally say no to me. So they can legally say no to Senator Jones. They can legally say no to the governor. They can't legally say no to me. That's number one. Number two, if they do it anyway, I'm going to have a buddy down the hall named Michael Gates. And Michael has handcuffs and policemen, and we will arrest them. They will be criminally charged if they don't give us access. And once I get that access, it's not going to sit in my office. It's online for all of you to see. Everybody in this room, just go online. You want to see what your local school spent on a volleyball court? It'll be there. You want to see what San Diego County spent on repaving 67? It'll be there. All the contracts. We're going to put technology in that allows you to draw connections between the people awarding the contract and the people getting the contract. People don't understand how big AI is and how much leverage, just a home researcher, the leverage you all will have is going to just shock your mind within very, very short period of time.
Great teamwork.
Do you have the ability to not write checks to some of these projects or programs?
Yes, that is the secret superpower.
And, and the legislature can't force you to do that?
I'll explain it.
Okay.
So, if the legislature passes a bill tomorrow that says we're going to buy 39 million pink flamingos and we're going to mail them to everybody in the state, and everybody's got a pink flamingo, puts it in their yard, there's 4 people in your family, you get 4. If they pass that legislation, I must spend the money. But if you fail on my financial reporting requirements, I can withhold disbursements until you comply. And if you have a failed prior audit or an audit deficiency, I can withhold. In the private sector, I sit on boards of directors, I sit on audit committees, and you start, the management team, the auditor, and the board start. It's a process. It takes 6 to 9 months to get a clean audit. In the government sector, in California, they just issued the audit. And it has, here it is, here's a list of 32 deficiencies. In fact, the state auditor puts out something called the high risk audit report. The state auditor puts this out, it was out in December. Do you know what office has been on the state auditor's high risk report as being structurally deficient?
The governor. The governor's.
The state controller's office. I can't make this up. Because she can't get her own financial reports out on time. The auditor literally is telling the person responsible for the auditing that they don't even have their own books in order. So, I got off track. But the point is, I can withhold if they are audit deficient or not reporting, transaction level reporting, that I can. But I can't pick and choose and just arbitrarily withhold money.
Who are the main people or positions that the state controller works with?
Well, the state controller is going to work closely with all of the 8 constitutionally elected executive offices. So Sonia Shaw instruction, we'll be working with her, dealing with spending issues that might come out of the K-12 system. But we'll work with everybody. We'll work with the legislature. I plan to spend a lot of time going down to the Assembly and going down to the Senate when they're about to pass a bill and educating them on what a balanced budget is. I could give you a 30-minute speech. Did you know California, we redefined the word woman? Now we've redefined balanced budget. And we got a judge to agree with us. It's a balanced budget if you raid the reserve funds in the budgeting process. The rainy day funds are for when your revenue falls short because of a recession. Not in California, not for Gavin Newsom. The reserve emergency funds are used every year for the budget now. And the state controller, he was even a Democrat, tried to stop them. They went to a judge. The judge said you can define balanced any way you want. And this is a federal requirement that states have a balanced budget, right?
When you find inappropriate spending or lack of receipts, etc., what are your next steps in this process?
Great question. So what do you do when you find stuff? Well, first of all, you hope that they're mistakes, and you help fix mistakes. When people have audit deficiencies, you don't say, nah, I'm going to withhold your money. You say, let's figure out how to deliver our services. Let me figure out how to get you your money, but you've got to get your accounting fixed before we can do that. When it moves on and it becomes theft or fraud or abuse, now inefficiency is different. It may not be the employee's fault that they're in a giant government bureaucracy. But when it's criminal, again, my new best friend, Michael Gates, I'm going to put a little bow on it. If you remember the Chicago Bulls, Pippen to Jordan, right? I'm Pippen, he's Jordan, and we're going to slam him down. Yeah. Thanks for the clap. That's great, yeah.
Describe your belief for an elected state representative's responsibilities.
Talk about like an assembly or a senate?
No, I mean, as an elected official, like what's your philosophy of how you would be a representative in that position? Not what you do, but your philosophy of...
Well, my philosophy, and I think everybody's in a different position in their life and wants to do different things. I think for a lot of people, politics is a career. My career was finance. I am retired 1 week. My wife's already telling me, go do something. We have one computer now. I need a computer. And but my philosophy is that you should be there for the purpose of service, and then you should leave. And that's what our country was founded on. People had farms and businesses, and sessions were short. They were part-time. I think our Congress and the federal should be part-time. I think our state assembly and state senate should be part-time. It should not be a full-time position. Thank you. The governor should be full-time. The 8 executives should be full-time, but the legislature should be part-time. This is not a career for me. You'll notice everybody on the golden ticket. There was a guy on social media. He said, I talked to that Herb Morgan. He's kind of old. And he said, we're called not the golden ticket, the golden years ticket. And my kids found it, and they loved it. I'm 59. Come on, I'm not the golden years ticket. Let's go.
If you are the only Republican who's elected from the golden ticket, how will you effectively fight the entrenched bureaucracy and elected officials in the state who will undermine you in every way they can?
Well, we're going to go riding into town, a whooping and a whooping, as they say in Blazing Saddles. There's actually a chance that can happen. So the state controller's race is the race Republicans always lose by the least. We got 45% last time. That was the highest of any of the other statewide offices. I am the only Republican running. I'm running on a message of transparency, efficiency, audit. I'm not running on anything partisan. So there's a really good chance that I do end up winning at this point. There's a very, very viable, I don't call it the path to victory yet, it's the math to victory. And with voter ID on the ballot, that's going to drive turnout from my side of the aisle. So that puts us at about 47, 48. I also think the fact that the entire national narrative around waste, fraud, and abuse is in California, the person responsible, everybody keeps blaming Governor Newsom. It's not. It's the state controller. The state controller's job is to stop theft and fraud and abuse. So that's our messaging that we're sending out. So we could be the only one. And if we are the only one, I'm going to use it like a badge of honor. And I'm going to fight every darn day to save our state.
Do you have a plan to make changes in your position that will last after your term is over?
Well, I think once we put in the radical transparency plan, which is going to fundamentally change government financial reporting, California will be first, like we are in everything tech forward and tech related. We are the hub, the epicenter of technology and forward thinking. I believe it will be quickly adopted worldwide. I mean, it's great. The first campaign in the history of world politics to have every transaction online every day for anybody to see. I believe in this. I mean, I'm eating my own cooking. This is the path to solving our problems. You can't solve your problems if you don't solve the money problem. So, amen.
Last question, and then we'll take questions from the audience.
Okay.
Over the decades, we have sent many good people to state and federal elected positions. We've been very disappointed that their core beliefs have changed over time, and they seem to have become corrupted or ineffective. What is your plan to keep yourself accountable and focused on the vision and mission you have pre-election?
I don't need a plan. My mother is still alive. And she's ornery. She is ornery. And she had to leave. She left Oceanside, like a lot of people did, because Social Security wasn't enough, sold the house here and moved to North Carolina. But she's on that. If I have a bad social media post, believe me, I hear about it fast. As long as my mom is still alive, and I'm not changing.
Okay. Are there any questions from the audience?
Right here. Get right here.
Speak up.
Fire concerns, the fire insurance?
Yes.
With the fire insurance, it's also affecting in the more suburb areas, just not the managing of the forest. And we've just been in Carmel Mountain, now rated as a high risk because of all the buildings that have been
I was here in 08, I remember.
stuffed into our area. So we're in fear, and now we have to change fences if there's no 5 feet of defensible space. What are they, what's gonna happen to us if we can't afford the so-called fair fire?
The fair plan is not fair. What we need is this thing called free market economics. We need competition, and we need to not have losses. So why did the insurance companies lose so much money on the last round of fires from the Palisades and Malibu and all that? They lost money because we were we didn't prepare to prevent the fire, number one, and then we weren't prepared to fight the fire. So if the government did its job, prevented fires in the first place, and then when they started, put them out quickly because the reservoir had water, and the firefighter was not a DEI hire, but actually knew how to fight fires, then insurance companies, by the force of competition of the free market, the rates will come down. We gotta stop, I'm not saying you're doing this, we gotta stop looking to the government to solve the problem. The government, as Ronald Reagan would say, is the problem. The state of California bureaucracy of government is the problem. Insurance companies want to be here, they want to make money here, they want us as customers, but it's not profitable because of our state bureaucracy. You can build up Carmel Mountain. I was here in 08 for the fire, my whole life here. We have all of our canyons, we have all of our dry brush. We get that. We gotta manage it. We gotta clip it. We gotta stop worrying about little bugs that don't exist and worry about our homes. Right? Okay, well done. Thank you very much, everybody. More than enough time. Nico in the back there. Stand up and say hi, Nico. She's my campaign manager, and she's really good at collecting contributions to the campaign. So if you want to see her or raise your hand, she'll bring you one of these envelopes. We'd love to take it. Oh, you won't. There you go. Even better.
Patriots for Freedom is very proud to endorse you, and here is our formal endorsement, and we have a gift for you.
Wow, thank you. That's very nice.
Yeah, thank you. Can we get the P12, take a picture with her right here?
Oh, sure.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Walking up to one seat to the guy.
Hello. Okay. After this, we're gonna have our very important local candidate that we need to support. So we need you. Just give us one moment for a picture with her. Sure, sure. Hang on, Roy. Nico gotta get this, right? Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And once again, sorry for that.
Oh, no problem, no problem.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And vote for Ed Musgrove.
Yes. Okay.
I got you.
Our next one, we would like to welcome Ed Musgrove, the retired constitutional sheriff for San Diego, and he's going to be running for Senate District 40.
40, yes. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Amy. I appreciate it. And I want to thank Patriots for Freedom, Pastor Rob, Calvary Chapel, for inviting us up here today. I was here 2 weeks ago speaking to the congregation, and everybody that's been able to hang around. We have a couple of more speakers, and please be patient with us. I want to discuss some things with you today. I do not want to repeat what's already been said, but a lot of this will dovetail. So let's talk real quickly about insurance, because Herb hit that very hard. We're talking about why it is we do not have adequate coverage, the entire failure that the state has put in place with a FAIR plan. I will say this to you, and it's not something I relish, but if you think back for the last several years, because we all said, yeah, when the insurance commissioner, who's done an absolutely abominable job, he needs to go. When the insurance companies would say, hey, we need to raise our rates, 1%, whatever the percentage, no. So then you have a catastrophic event in Los Angeles, and the coverage is insufficient. It's a business. You cannot tell a business they're not allowed to make a profit, because that's what they're in business to do. They're allowed to actually go into a structural deficit on their coverage because they have underwriters that help them out to do that. But they do need to raise their profits. So what ends up happening is the state comes up with the FAIR plan, which underinsures you. And something Herb did not talk about, but I know he knows this very well because we've talked about it. The situation right now with the lack of coverage, the state of California now wants to allow those insurance companies back in to raise your rates if you have coverage with one of these agencies to cover the shortcomings of the FAIR plan. When does that ever make sense in a free market society? It doesn't. Okay. Wealth taxes. Come on. We've seen what's happened. The people that own these large companies, that whether they directly employ you or tangentially, you receive an income. You don't have to work for Hewlett Packard, you don't have to work for Google, but maybe you work for a company or you have a pension plan that is invested into one of these companies, and now the owners of those companies are leaving because they don't have $10 billion under the mattress. A lot of it is on paper, but that is going to be assigned to their wealth. So they leave California, so they don't have the personal liability, and they move their corporate headquarters, which means the company is not making the money here. Sure, the product they may deliver is here, but the corporate taxes are going to go to a state with, oh, guess what? No corporate tax. When did that ever make sense? We now have council members in the city of San Diego, surge pricing, $10 an hour to go to a Padre game just to park within walking distance. It's all part and parcel of what state government is trying to do to us. Instead of working for us to bring the cost of living down, they want to raise the cost of living to make it better for you. When was the last time you actually saw them using tax dollars to improve your life?
Never.
Ever. I see these signs once in a while. It's hilarious. SB1, your tax dollars at work when they're filling a pothole. Quit feeding us crumbs. These are our dollars. Bring them back. Bring them back locally. If your local government says, hey, we're in a situation where we need additional funds because we're sending money in one direction and it's not coming back. Listen to what they have to say. Ask them the hard questions. Like Herb says, audit, look at the budget, find out where your money's going. And if you can honestly say they're good stewards of your public trust, then consider that option. And then hold their feet to the fire. Say, I want to see exactly where that money, if it's a sales tax, if it's a one-time fee, where is that money going? And is it staying here? And the answer to the last part is yes. Local taxes stay locally within that jurisdiction. Now the county of San Diego, they want to impose 2 new taxes on you, ostensibly to fix the things that they screwed up. And where do you think that money's going to go? It's not going to go to what they're telling you. It's going to go to their general fund, which generally means they're going to spend it on their pet projects, and you're not going to see it. Who here rode the bus in today?
The bullet train.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Then you probably rode in the trolley.
Bullet train.
The bullet train. Congratulations, you're going to love the desert. Who knows who Phillips 66 is? Yes, how about Valero?
Yep.
We all know Chevron.
Yep.
Phillips 66 drills for oil, and they process into fuel. Valero is a processing company. They don't have wells. Chevron has both. When Valero said they were shutting down, he would say, yeah, but we're not losing any oil because they don't drill for oil, they just process the oil. But that's still a percentage of fuel we're not going to have. And what did the governor say? See you bye. Phillips 66, when it became, in a business perspective, they cannot continue to work here, they're shutting down. And Chevron threatened the governor, we're going to do the same thing. And so what did President Trump say? Executive order, we're going to open up the leases offshore. Is that a great idea? Yes. Oil is a great idea. Last year, the state of California issued 3,000 drilling permits for oil in Kern County, primarily around Bakersfield. How many new wells are there? None. Oh, because there's environmental concerns. And believe me, it's not like the clamp, but you go straight down and you get a gusher. It's called horizontal drilling because the oil is stratified, but they know that. So you set a drill and you go across and you get the oil. But it is not cost effective to do it because on paper we're allowing this to happen and the evil oil companies are not looking out for you. State of California is not working for you. One party rule does not work for you. That's right. Public safety. And again, I know that the golden ticket, that's a Willy Wonka. That is a golden ticket, guys. I'm telling you right now. Those are 3 fantastic candidates and we need to support them. Prop 36. I stood with our district attorney and I spoke out on this. My career with the sheriff's office, if you don't know me, I'm a local guy, grew up in National City, then Poway High School, left for the Army. After 7 years, I came back to just short of 26 years with the sheriff. I retired as a captain. I worked every assignment except SWAT. I don't think I could throw myself over a 10-foot wall. I can go through it. But I had a great career. I managed multi-million-dollar Homeland Security grants as the sheriff's emergency operations manager, and then the largest command on the sheriff's department, multi-million-dollar, talking about operational budgets, service and supplies. I had all 3 of the gaming communities, Verona, Sequan, Viejas, Lakeside, San Marcos, halfway up the hill to Iron Mountain, halfway up here, all the way out to Descanso. Over 200 employees. You learn how to spend well when you're spending somebody else's money. They called me a penny pincher. Okay? Give me a dime, I'll give you 13 cents. Because I know how to save money. Who knows SB 132? Actually, it's not a Senate, it's a Senate bill, 132. Anybody familiar with it? No. You should be. Because part of it comes out to all of us. Scott Wiener, does everyone know who Scott Wiener is? He's our bane of existence in this state. The only blessing is that he's going to run for Congress. So win or lose, he's not going to be here. He'll wreak havoc on the Bay Area if he wins, because that's his constituency. He put forth a bill, and your governor signed it, which says when somebody is sentenced to state prison, all they have to say is, I identify as a woman, and I go to the women's prison. And if I don't get to go there, then the prison system, the county system, are in violation of the law. In what world is that right? Okay? We are facing lawsuits locally and at the state level for women being sexually assaulted by the perverts that we're trying to send to prison, and they're saying, I'm a wolf, why wouldn't I go to the flock? Ridiculous. I'm going to close real quickly here because I know we have more speakers and I appreciate your patience. There's 3 rules that I was given when I said I was going to run. Be brief, be brilliant, be gone. Okay? But I am going to close. I'm not a philosopher. I have plenty to say, believe me. Sun Tzu, some of you might know who he was. He was, I think, a 3rd century BC Chinese warrior. I love this line, and I want you to think about this when you're casting your ballots, when you look at the governor, and you look at all these bubbleheads up in Sacramento that are not doing your job. And here's what he said. An evil man will burn his own nation to the ground to rule over the ashes. And that is exactly what's going on. Okay? Musgrove, the number 4, Senate.com. And yes, I am related. Joe's my nephew. Sorry, we're going to get that arm in shape and get him back on the mound. Nope, I'm not leaving yet. Was I not loud enough?
Yeah, it's loud enough. He can sing too.
Oh, Amy wanted me to sing the national anthem here. Nobody's ears deserve that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Act. You get all of your experience, and we really need it to make America great again.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's a great group. Thank you, guys. You guys are up and down out of your chairs. I know my knees can't do it. No.
I'll steal that one, grab any other one.
Real quickly, this is Senate District 40 is the race. It includes everything from the Riverside County line, Valley Center, Ramona, Poway, Santee, Lakeside, Alpine, into San Diego, Miramar, University City, Scripps Ranch, Poway, of course San Marcos, and unincorporated areas all lie in 950,000 people. I would wager you're in the district. Musgrove, the number 4, Senate.com.
Next, I would like to invite Adam Noakes to come up for San Diego County Superior Court. Adam, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, everyone, for sticking around, and hopefully won't take too much more time, but I wanted to let you know I am running for Superior Court Judge. My name is Adam Noakes. This is one of those races that, quite frankly, most people don't know who the candidates are. They don't know who to vote for. And oftentimes you don't even know why are we voting for Superior Court Judge. Well, I want to tell you why Superior Court Judge is important. When I look at our system, our society, the civil society and the backbone of it to me is how do we resolve disputes among ourselves where we don't turn against each other and it doesn't turn to vigilantism and it doesn't turn into chaos onto the streets. How do we keep the civil society together? The justice system. Superior Court judges are the backbone of the justice system, but it only works if we have the public's faith and trust in that system. What does it take to have faith and trust in the justice system? It takes judges who are committed with their whole souls to 3 ideals. This is my belief, at least, and I am speaking into a church. It is a biblical belief, and I can point you to the references as well in Deuteronomy 1, and you can see what happens in 1 Samuel 8 when you don't have this. You need judges who are going to be fair. Due process is fairness. Treating people equally is fairness. Applying the law as it's written to the parties is fairness. You need a judge who will be fair. Not a judge who says, well, I think it actually should be this way for this particular party because I kind of like that party or I'm sympathetic to that party. That's not the correct role for the judge. The judge needs to apply the rules equally to all the parties. That is how you have faith and trust in the system, because you know this judge is going to treat us fairly. The second one, independence. A judge needs to be independent from those forces and persuasions that want an outcome before the process has been played. We've seen this with social pressures. The court of public opinion has already made a decision, and therefore we ratchet down pressure on the judge or whoever else to get the outcome that we want. You need a judge that's going to have the intestinal fortitude to stand and say, no, I am independent of the social, political, and financial pressures that want a certain outcome before we've had a chance to let the process play. The third thing we need from our judges is impartiality. We need judges who are not prejudiced for one party or another, one ideal or another, one desire or another. You need someone who is willing to say, I know I have bias because everyone has bias, but I am actively checking my bias. And I am going to apply the law as it's written, not the law the way I wish it was written. The judge's role is not to create law. That's the legislature. The judge's role is to apply the law as written. And you're going to hear from Nicole D'Ambrosi. She's also running for Superior Court Judge. We're not running against each other. The two of us will be those candidates who will ensure, to the best of our ability, the faith and trust that the public can have in our system. I'll tell you a little bit about me. I'm currently an administrative law judge, and I presided over more than 1,100 cases as an administrative law judge. Over 5 years ago, I took off my advocacy hat. As an advocate, you're fighting for a certain outcome. You're one of those pressures that's saying, no, I want this best outcome for my client, whether you believe in it or not. That's what you want because you were hired to do that. A judge should not be an advocate. So 5 years ago, I said, I don't want to be an advocate anymore because in my core, I actually believe in the objective search for truth. And as a judge, I don't have to take a side. That's the beauty of it. In my court, I love what I do because I can listen to the parties, I can take in the evidence, and then I can apply the evidence to the law as it's written and marry it together. And I'm not going into it with a certain, well, I want it to come out this way. No, I want to know what the truth is. And then once we have those facts, I want to apply them to the law as it's written. Not the law the way that I wish it was, the law as it's written. That's the public's faith and trust in our system. When you have judges who will do that. That's what I've been doing for the last over 5 years. Before that, I was an attorney, and I was a very good attorney. I was an advocate, and I was doing civil defense work. I worked doing that over 8 years at the largest law firm in the world, and then I went and did some work for some boutique firms. Before that, I was in the military. I served in the Army just like Ed served in the Army. You're going to hear from Nicole, she served in the Navy. We served our country. We believe in something above self. We believe in this country. And I spent 4 years on active duty at the Old Guard, 3rd U.S. Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard, it's in Arlington. And I was part of a full honors firing party there where I learned above all, there is value in duty, respect, and honor. And one of the things that I did
as the full honor firing party was we did funerals for both the active duty service members who lost their lives, and for those of our brothers and sisters who served before us who died. And there's duty and honor in doing things with precision. And I will bring that same mindset to the bench. Before that, I was a missionary for my church. I spent 2 years in Brazil. And it's a life-changing experience to be a missionary, and to put God above all else, and to go out and talk to your fellow man, your fellow womankind, and to try to reach them where they are, and to try to lift them up spiritually as well as physically. One of the things that was very salient that I learned that's relevant for what I'm doing right now, I saw firsthand in the individual, the family, and the community what happens when you no longer have faith and trust in that system, when you believe it's corrupted. And what happens is people live in fear. What happens is people are subject to the whims of those who would threaten and who would do harm to them. And that is not the society that I want. That is not the society that we deserve. That's not the society that my family deserves, my 4 daughters deserves. That's not what you deserve. That's not what you want. That's not what your children want or your grandchildren want. And if I'm elected to Superior Court Judge, I am going to do everything within my power every single day to live up to those high ideals of fairness, independence, and impartiality, so that you and everyone can have faith and trust in our system, not just uphold it, but hopefully to magnify it. June 2nd is the primary. Please vote in that primary. My race for sure is decided in the primary. I need people to vote for Adam Noakes for Superior Court Judge, seat 31, or it's going to say office 31 on your ballot, in the June primary. You're actually getting ballots in May. Most of May is really when most of the voting is happening. So when you get the ballot, if you've already made that decision, please fill in the box, fill in the circle next to my name. Tell other people to do so as well. People don't know who to vote for. You all have heard me. If I've touched you in any way, please tell other people. Tell your family, tell your friends. They will listen to you, and they will follow your advice, because they don't know who to vote for these races. They've never heard of us. But these are so important. The judges make decisions about your life every single day. You have this precious opportunity in 2 races to choose who you want to be your judge. And I hope and I pray that you will choose me. Thank you very much.
Great talk.
Oh, thank you.
Patriots for Freedom would like to endorse you.
Wonderful.
Here is your endorsement.
Thank you.
We have a gift for you.
Can we get a picture? People have everyone. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for sticking around, everyone. I know it's been a long time. A long day, I should say.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam.
Next, we would like to introduce Andrew Lawson. Come up here. The best for last. Yeah.
Y'all better stick around.
Yeah.
I was gonna let ladies go first. Okay, I can go first.
Please.
I'll even keep it brief. Let me show of hands. Does anybody know which assembly district you reside in? Nobody knows what? Okay, so no one knows if you're in the 79th Assembly District. This one's important too. They're up there in Sacramento passing 1,000 bills a year, writing and introducing 3,000 a year. This is why Herb's right. They need to go home. They don't need to be there full time. Amen. My name is Andrew Lawson. I am running for the 79th Assembly District. I'm going to tell you, this is not something I wanted to do because of any type of passion. It was something that I felt led to do. And then I looked at my race and I said, oh, shoot, we're up against Shirley Weber's district. I think I might be a little crazy doing this, but, and I say this because she was the assemblywoman. Her daughter, Keela, took over, and now the daughter's best friend is my opponent currently. So she's got a stronghold in this district, and I'm gonna need every ounce of help that I can get. And that's where you guys all come in. So at least do me a favor and go to sdvote.com and check your voting registration, so the next time I ask you which assembly district you're in, you can at least let me know that you know. It is a heavy Democrat district, but I mean, I'm looking at everything going on, and they're nuts, right? They're passing laws for red light cameras, mileage commission, the transfer fee on your homes between 5 and 6%. I'll make this promise right now that when I get elected to the assembly, my first bill will be to repeal the nonsense. The red light cameras will be gone. The mileage commission will be gone, and I'll do it all in one bill. I don't have to stand up there for 2 years trying to pass 4 or 5 different bills. I'm gonna do it all in one, and we'll just repeal everything that the Democrats have done to make life more unaffordable for us in the last 8 years. And with that, I will close.
Wow.
Thank you for coming, Andrew. We so appreciate you being here, and Patriots for Freedom is proudly presenting you with the endorsement today as well.
Thank you so much.
This is for your social media. Social media is big
Are
nowadays.
you telling me you're not on social media?
Yeah, I'm not. I have an account, but I'm not active. So everyone, can you cover everyone? Can you see? Can you see Shorty? Oh,
Yeah, we got it.
Shrimp. Thank you.
This is last notice to Nicole just yesterday, and she confirmed that she's coming in. Thank you so much for coming here. We'd like to introduce Nicole running for Superior Court as well, so I have to take it away.
Oh, thank you so very much. Thank you. Give me a Dr. laugh. Okay, we're gonna change it up a little bit because you have been in this room for like 3 hours, and I'm sure your butt and your sciatic is killing you. So, if you are proud to be an American, could you please stand? Alright. If you celebrate the 4th of July, look to your neighbor and slap them a high five. Alright? If you believe in our founding fathers and what they started for us, I want you to just reach up and say hallelujah. If you think more than 50% of the cases filed in our courts go to trial, sit down. Okay, if you think more than 25% of the cases filed in our courts go to trial, sit down. Okay, you guys are really good. If you think more than 10% of the cases filed in our courts go to trial, sit down. Yes, you guys are so smart. I love it. If you think 5% of our cases go to trial, sit down. Okay, you guys are super smart. If you think less than 1% of our cases actually filed in our county go to trial, take a seat. All right, good. You guys are super smart. Thank you all so much. My name is Nicole D'Ambrosi, and I am a candidate for San Diego Superior Court. I asked you all to stand, one, because I recognize that it has been a long afternoon, and as a law professor, I also know that my students get tired of me lecturing. And so I want you actually to hear me today. So why did I ask about the Declaration of Independence? Because that is the first time that we actually heard about the importance of an independent court. Believe it or not, our country, 250 years, is founded on a system where our courts are free from public pressure
and free from bias. They are supposed to be. But are they? Okay, this is where you guys get to take the reins back. I want you to know how much power you have as a local voter. If you just take your ballot and you flip it upside down, your vote carries so much weight in these down ballot votes. When I was here to listen to the headline speaker, this room was packed. Okay? Same thing with how voters work. You guys are the strong and loyal, and I appreciate you so much. But I want you to think about it. If you continue to stay and you get to hear us, we need you to come out and vote. You get a chance to actually put people on the bench. How else do they get to the bench? Well, I'll tell you. Every judge has a term of 6 years. If that judge comes off the bench at any time between year 1 and 6, it opens up a vacancy. That vacancy is filled by appointment from the governor. Okay? If the judge comes off the bench at the end of year 6, then their seat goes up for election. This is where you guys get to stay. Because for the last 8 years, we haven't had people with your values on the bench. Now I say that, but I also want to be very transparent because I believe in that. When you come into court, it's about the law. I don't care who comes into the court. I care about the facts and what has brought you there because I want you to know that you're going to have a fair chance. When I was 18, I raised my right hand and I joined the military. I had friends die for the flag. I had friends come back in many cases. I served during Operation Iraqi Freedom in the early 2000s. I believe in our democracy. Thank you. I believe in our democracy. I believe in what we stand for as Americans. I am a proud American. I proudly celebrate the 4th of July. I proudly stand behind what we are. We are a free, independent country. Our founding fathers didn't want just a free country. They wanted a fair country. And in order to do that, we must have confidence in the courts. We must have confidence in our judges. So, why me? I'm fabulous and I'm the best. You said the best for last.
Yeah.
So, right? And I think I'm the only woman that stood up here as a candidate today, right? So, fantastic. But more so, I did. I served in our military. When I was 18, I was Navy police. I wasn't JAG. I was rank and file. I served with Marine Corps Security Force Battalion in Kings Bay, Georgia. When I got out of the military, I went into law school. So what that means is I actually got my bachelor's degree while I was in active duty. That was no easy feat. Some nights I wrote papers by night vision goggles. Okay? I got out and I went to law school. We were having a lot of service members return from combat. My husband is a 3-time combat veteran. He was with Marine Infantry. He did not come back the same man when he left. And I saw that happen a lot, and I know that trauma can impact good people. Okay, that doesn't mean that they are bad people. That means that they are people that we need to invest back into, and I saw them. So I got really into veterans legal assistance clinic at Thomas Jefferson School of Law when I was in law school. And then as I got out, I did a lot of advocacy for veterans in our justice system, and I volunteered at the Vet Mod in Vista, mentoring the veterans there, but then I realized that we don't have anything like that for women veterans. So I started a program at Las Colinas for women veterans. And then in 2019, I took over the Veterans Legal Assistance Clinic at Thomas Jefferson School of Law. Came up with some good ideas, and now I found myself the director of all clinical programs at the law school. So if you have a really good idea in your work, keep it to yourself, because you get more responsibilities. No, it's fantastic. I love it because what I get to do is expand access to justice to low-income individuals throughout the county. It's fantastic. But I've also seen some really amazing stories come out of our brave men and women who have served our country. And that's why I want to be a judge. Because it's not about being lenient when somebody makes a bad decision. right? It's about holding them accountable for their actions, but delivering that justice in a way that they can maintain their dignity. Because there's very few people that go to jail for life, okay? Which means that they're gonna get out and become part of us again. And we want them to be good people, if they can be. Because if they're not good people, we have a place for them, right? So delivering that justice with compassion, with empathy, for understanding that, hey, bad things happen to good people, okay? Maybe your neighbor moved in and built a fence. That's something you go to court for, believe it or not. Now, I don't like that fence. And you need to be able to go to court. So not everything is criminal in nature. That's what I am saying, is that we need to be able to let people come to the courts to settle their differences, but with respect and empathy to know that why they got there. You need to be able to come in and know, hey, I like that judge. But you're gonna be fair. Like, Adam, if I went into Adam's court and Adam ruled against me, I'd be like, dang, I get it. Can't be mad, because he's pretty reasonable, right? It's delivering justice that people can understand, because not everybody is gonna get the ruling they want. But we have to know that we have confidence in our courts, because that is a system that is the bedrock of our freedoms. And when we lose that, we lose everything else that comes with it. I have tried cases in criminal court, family court, probate court, conservatorship court, and guardianship court. I have represented youth that have lost their parents. I have represented disabled adults, and I have represented elderly who have been subject to fraud and abuse. Our courts are a place of protection. They are a place of accountability. What Adam had said, and what he forgot to say, is that on June 2nd, it is critical and important that you come out and vote, okay? Because for judges, Adam's, it is decided in June. Mine potentially could go all the way to November, but if you get all of your friends and you guys come out together, maybe we end it in June. I would really appreciate that. This is a county-wide race. So that means you can call your friend in Encinitas, you can call your friend down at Valley Center, and you can say, hey, have you voted for judges? Well, let me tell you about two I met today. All right, if you do that, it helps us tremendously. There are no districts, it's the entire county. And do you know what it is like to campaign in a county as big as San Diego when gas prices are nearly $6 a gallon? So, you guys could really help us by calling a friend and letting them know. I would love to meet you after. I would love to answer any questions that you may have. Again, my name is Nicole D'Ambrosi. I'm a Navy veteran. I'm an attorney. I'm a litigator. I'm a law professor, and I would love your vote. Thank you so much.
And the nice thing about this both Adam and Nicole here is Centennial Countywide, and there's 2 seats available, and we can vote for both of them. It's not we'll vote for both Nicole and Adam. On behalf of Patriots for Freedom, we're endorsing you.
Thank you so much.
We're going to continue carrying the movement, making America great again. Thank you. Patriots for Freedom, a picture with Nicole, please. Everyone?
Yeah. Oh, the picture. Yeah.
Thank you.
Picture. Oh, thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you. Jan? Master Jan. Master.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Sorry, Joe.
Susan, Jackie, Cindy, can you please come up, talk about the voting before we do the closing? Just remind everyone.
Try and remember to go in person. Remember, vote in person. Your vote will be much more secure that way. June 2nd is when the voting is, June 2nd. You could go a day before, but I would try and go on June 2nd. Do not surrender your ballot. Do not put it in the envelope. You don't want to go and vote in person with it in an envelope. That becomes a mail-in ballot. So, and
Thank you, Jackie. Well, as promised, we have the results of our straw poll from earlier. Thank you for staying around and waiting for the results. First and foremost, I wanted to let you know that we had 61.3% that were here did not vote. And we had 38.6 votes that were cast. And out of that number, the percentage that were in favor of Steve Hilton for governor for California is 98.2%. So we still need you to vote in June 2nd.
June 2nd.
And we really hope that Steve wins, and
Steve will win.
We
And
want
the golden ticket.
The
golden ticket will be in.
Yes,
Right.
and with your help.
And all
we'll
our
soon be-
local candidate that will represent here.
I think it's amazing that 38.6% is actually representative of the total population that's actually registered to vote. And of that 30% that's registered to vote, 15% of that 30% decide who is in our government. And that is sad.
I would like to invite all the Patriots for Freedom to come back up to the stage, please. We are all patriots, but our group's Patriots for Freedom together with Pastor Rob. I just want to have a word of thanks, although we, Patriots for Freedom, put together this event, but without Pastor Rob, his safety team, his security team, this wouldn't have happened just as it is. So what a big round of applause to Pastor Rob, his staff, his safety team, and everyone. We appreciate you so much. Pastor Rob, would you please come up and Mari to us well? Please, Mari. We have a little gift for you, Pastor Rob, so that you could.
Thank you very much.
And you are more than welcome to open this in front of everyone, and I think everyone would love to see it.
Yes, I am running for pastor of Calvary Chapel.
Got my vote.
So listen, look at you guys are the ones that stuck it out, man. You guys are awesome. So you know what, stand. Pastor Chuck used to say that the mind cannot absorb what the seat cannot endure. You can have that one for your class. Okay, there you go. All right. So why don't you stand up with us, okay, those of you that are left. And we're going to pray, but then Amy would like to have all of our safety team, ushers, all the volunteers from Calvary to come up to the front. She wants to get a picture with her team, okay?
Yes.
All right, so if you guys are out in the parking lot, please, you're allowed to come back in now. And I don't know how people got locked in a room, because as far as I know, the knob's on the inside. And we're voting for these guys for politicians. This is going to be scary, man.
They heard.
We got to find out.
They heard us call out the name, but they couldn't get out.
Let's pray, gang. God, we want to say thank you for all of these that came today, that have literally put their lives on the line in a different way, in a political way, to be attacked, to be maligned, to be misinterpreted and misquoted. And they do it because they love this state. And so, Lord, may you protect them. May you watch over them. And God, I pray that this state truly would, the people would recognize their responsibility, and that they would get out and vote. They would do exactly what has been requested from each one of these people, that we would vote for them. And so we commit them to you, watch over them, bless them, and we pray, God, that you would give California back to the people. In Jesus' name. Amen.
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 So come on, all of you guys, safety team, ushers, parking lot guys, get in here. And for the rest of you, thank you for being here. Thank you for sticking it out. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys. Now we know who to vote for, for judges, man. Don't forget us. Don't forget. We're not going to forget you guys, all right? Yes. All right.
I have a question for you.
It's just the seat number. So there's both of us have 5 pages available.